You can start the video. I'm going to be busy here for a little while.
Okay. Yeah, the rain couldn't stop us from enjoying ourselves anyway.
How many people showed up?
Well, I mean, it's only a Canadian thing because, you know, obviously. So let's see, one, two. Well, we had a couple of my friends show up just for the day, or or a day. So if I include them, it's 7.
That's good. That's a good turnout. That's
Yeah,
enough
that's
for a
all.
nice campfire.
Yeah, 5 regular ones, and I think we got another couple of guys coming, maybe. But who knows if they're going to come? The weather might scare them off.
We need to talk about Carl.
We need
Because
to.
he's willing to do it on Saturday. He wants to, and I just said I'd have to run it by you.
Well, yeah, I guess we maybe could. Or we could just do them next Thursday or something. I don't know. Well, we'll figure it out. Okay, so the pork and bean show.
We'll call this a round table or a update or something like that.
Okay, sure. And if somebody wants to come on, then fine. If they don't want to come on, that's good too.
Yeah, I mean, you know, we're just talking Sasquatch stuff and you know, chaos and
Mayhem.
had a nice little experience while watching some videos the other night. I just kind of got into my heart, and then I sort of got the feeling that the Sasquatch, first it was a dog man, then the Sasquatch, and they were like, it was like a living room kind of a deal. Like they were coming inside of me, sort of in my dream kind of imagination. And
oh, wow.
And they were watching the video. I thought that was fun.
Oh, you have to share that. So hold on a minute. I'm just going to put this in the pork and bean show now. Okay, so we're going to be live in a second. The pork and bean show.
Cool. I'm going to be looking.
Yeah, we'll go on for hour or 90 minutes, 2 hours, whatever we feel like.
Yeah, well, as an update doesn't have to be 3 hours.
No, it's not going to be 3 hours because I got to get some people are leaving today, and I got to make sure I get back and see them.
How long does it take you to get there? Because you actually hit it on time. I can't believe it.
Not that long, about 15 minutes.
That's not bad. So you could actually plan it out.
Yeah. Okay, I call it the pork and beans update show.
That's cool. That's a good one.
So we will be live on Facebook in a minute, so we got to start getting entertaining the fans pretty soon. Oh, we're live. We're live right now.
Cool. Are you recording? You're live? Hey, hello everybody. It's Pork and Beans Show. I'm Frank Oliver Beans. I don't know who this other guy is.
I'm not sure myself today. I think I'm Frank Cunningham. With memory serves.
You had a family emergency, which kind of threw us off. So our guest, you know, is not going to be here today. So, but we have other things to talk about.
Absolutely. We'll give you an update on the camp out, and what do you tell us about that dream you had? You were just talking about. Start off. That sounded pretty cool.
Oh, I can't even remember the video that I was watching. It was a nice video. It was like a talk show kind of video. It might have been Sasquatch Odyssey or something like that, or something like that. And it was a pretty good show, you know. Maybe there was another one. I don't know, because I watch a lot of shows. Anyway, so here I was just, a lot of times when I lay down to watch the show, I meditate. When I meditate, my heart starts to buzz. When my heart starts to buzz, then I can look into my heart, right? And so then I
Yeah.
feel like this dog man kind of energy comes in, and I could see like the dog man, and it was like he was excited. And so I was kind of like put my arm over the dog man's shoulder, and he sort of
Oh,
like sort of sat down, looked like a dog sat down with his like on his haunches, and
wow.
and then a little while later, a big Sasquatch came in. And this Sasquatch was really cool because, you know, this is all kind of like a dream, but there's that vibration in my chest when I meditate, right? And the
Yeah.
Sasquatch just kind of like opened up that little vibration, like if it was a chair or something, and he sat down, and a couple of more Sasquatch came in. And so what I actually got the feeling, which I feel a lot, is that they were using me as a video screen, as the what do you call it, as the theater. I was a theater, and they were watching what I was watching. So that was pretty cool.
Oh,
Yeah, and I'm sure a lot
well,
of
you know,
people.
I've heard,
I think that
what's that?
happens more than people recognize.
Yeah, you know, I remember, you know, really early on, and when I was, you know, developing my relationship with them, I went to a conference the first year that I was called to the mountains and whatever, and when they started connecting me with people and stuff, and I met this lady at the conference, and she was from Bellingham, Washington, and she was telling me that you know, the Sasquatch used to come to her window and watch TV, and I've heard that before, so I guess they're TV fans, I suppose.
Well, I don't know, but
So that was pretty
I'm
cool.
pretty sure that if they're tuned into you, or if they're tuned into you, and you know, and you're watching some show they want to watch, they'll just come in and watch through your eyes.
Right, right.
Then I did
Yeah.
another
Well, I
thing.
mean,
Go ahead.
oh, you did another thing. Is it suitable for airplay? Can you relate it?
It's the same kind of a thing, but it was this thing where you build up your chi. I forget who was saying this. You build up your chi, which is your energy in your body, right? And then you send it out to
Yeah.
the whole world, and it kind of like loosens up the darkness. So I did that a few times, and then as I was, and you know, it's kind of a long, slow process to do it. And then I started gathering these beings, right? So the Sasquatch came in, and the Dog Man came in to like assist with this, you know, spreading this spark of light around the earth. And
Hmm.
then I noticed that the deer and I forget with the dogs, and it ended up being all the four-legged people. They came inside me, and it's like they wanted to help remove this darkness from around the earth, and sort of like send out this like an explosion of conscious energy stuff. So that I did that, and then that took about a half hour or so, because it ended up getting pretty involved, because it went from just I remember now something that was really cool is as I was doing this, right, there was this whole thing going on with the earth, and I was just, and you know me, I'm just like this little, trying to put a little spark of life into the, you know, whatever it is that I got. I'm not you know, big energy thing. But then I had this vision of this incredible angel that was so big that its wings just encompassed the whole earth. That was pretty cool. And then there's this energy burst that went from the earth out to the sun, and then to the planets, and sort of, and then
Wow.
from the sun it went to the galaxy. So it was like this connected thing, the earth, sun, planets, galaxy, all one. It was all kind of like adding this energy. I'm sure that was something I was just tuned into. It wasn't actually my instigation, but it felt like I was part of it. So that was pretty cool. These things are pretty
Oh,
rare.
and that was a dream.
That
How did
was
that?
kind of
Was
a
that?
lucid, that was kind of a lucid, same thing as watching a video. Is you just start feeling the energy moving around in your chest, and you know, you can see images, sort of images. So I was conscious. I wasn't really
Yeah, but I
asleep.
meant. Oh, okay. That's what I wanted to ask you. So it wasn't a lucid dream. You were actually conscious.
Yeah.
Yeah. Oh, that's just like another day in the life of Frank Oliver
Yeah,
Baines, in my
that's a
opinion.
normal
You know,
day.
so it's another day in the, it's a normal day for
Yeah,
you.
I'm inviting a lot of people to come, but you know, today's like a work day, and it's 12 noon, so we might get one or two people. Who knows?
Yeah. Well, we got a couple of messages. Christina Del Rosario, but I don't. That's just a bunch of letters she put together. Her keyboard is either broke or
Send
something's
her a
up,
link.
or it's light language
Oh,
or something and spelt out.
she's pretty high. She's not in the group in our group anymore.
Oh,
Because
well,
her
what do you? Wait a
did
minute.
something
She she's on live. She made a comment on the live video.
just now.
Yeah, go and look at the comments.
Oh,
Check it
I'm
out.
gonna. Okay. I'll do that. Do that right now. Where am I? I gotta go to the Pork and Bean show, and I gotta go home, which is out of here, and uh, find the
Yeah.
show. Yeah, it's not there. That's not there. That's not there. Oh, I gotta maybe refresh the window. See what's happening.
Yeah. I don't know. Maybe she's talking to us in light language in the written form.
I need to put the link to.
Yeah.
Where am I? Oh,
Anyway,
there I am.
guys. Yeah.
Yeah, I see
Anyway.
it. Oh yeah, I see.
Any.
She said, "Well, that's perfectly clear." She says, "Jaha, could you get some swag?" I got that. Yeah,
Well, that's yeah. But you talk that language. I'm not that evolved.
I
I'm
have no
still at
idea
the
what
kindergarten
any
level.
concept, but I'm going to
I'm
put a
still.
link. I'm going to put the link in there.
Anyway, guys, anybody listening, if they want to come on and talk to us for a bit, it's going to be a short show today because I have to get back to the camp out. But just
Yeah,
came back to check
tell
in,
that
and
the link is on the link is on the comments. So we got
yeah,
three whole comments.
yeah, link is on the comments. So if you want to join us and talk for a bit. So tell me a little bit more about that lucid, or it wasn't a lucid dream or whatever. So you were sending your love and consciousness out to the universe, and you felt. I was a little. Can you go
Well,
into a
let me
little more detail on that?
yeah, let me turn the volume down on the Pork and Meat show. Yeah, well, you know, it has the heart light meditation. You know, and the one where the Sasquatch came and stuck his hand in my heart, and it just showed me where the vibrate, how to make it buzz. And you
Oh,
do that
right.
with your breath, right? When you breathe in, you feel the coolness goes down to your throat, and then the coolness eventually gets down into here, and the coolness is just an energy thing. So
Mm-hmm.
once you send that little energy around, it's pretty simple. It's not like dramatic or anything. And then you just, breathe into that. You breathe into it. And the more you breathe into it, the bigger it gets. And the idea is if you really huff and puff or whatever, right? And when you really get going, and you do it for a while, right? It goes out to your arms and your legs and everything. So that's what so that means that your mind is like, if you can imagine your mind seeing your mouth, right? So that's it.
Yeah.
So like I'm looking this way, but if I look into my mouth and feel the coolness, then I look in, and then I'm looking into my throat, and then I look into my heart. So it's the mind shifting down, right? The idea
Right.
is to eventually to where you can feel your whole body with each breath. So you can feel the breath going into your whole body. So then that takes time to do that. But the thing is you shift your consciousness down into your heart. So you're actually looking from your heart and into your heart. And that's how it goes. And it's a pretty great TV screen. It's a pretty great, sort of like
Wow.
crystal ball. Have you ever seen what do you call it? one of those hourglass things that has the bulb at the top, and it just goes
Yep,
down
yep,
to a little,
yeah,
and then goes a bulb at the bottom, and the sand goes through. Well,
yeah,
that's
of
kind of
course.
in a way what the heart is that is you're up here, and your mind is at the top bulb, and then there's another universe in the bottom bulb. And so when you can go down to that place where they cross, where they cross, that is your heart. And so that's where your finite self becomes your infinite self. So it's just a matter of moving your mind down there, and but here's the reason why I do it is because when you do heart light meditation, this is what the Sasquatch said to me. When you do heart light meditation, they can see you. So if they can see you, then they can see through your eyes. They can come inside you. They can visit, all that kind of stuff. They're conscious of you, and you're conscious of them. If you're not doing that, then you're just like all the other energy patterns in the whole world, right? But when you glow, I call it glowing. When you glow, they can see you, and that's a pretty cool thing.
Yeah, yeah. You're gonna have to. Why don't you post that? Just turn this crazy phone off. I'm kind of like doing everything at once, trying to recharge my phone and all that stuff. Why don't you post that meditation on the Pork and Bean Show or whatever? And I'm going to actually try to get down and really apply myself and do it. And maybe somebody else in the group that's interested could do it too, because that's the one where you actually saw part of your leg go invisible, wasn't it?
Yeah, that's also how they
Isn't
go
it?
invisible. Yeah, I can't
Yeah.
really take credit for it. But it was by doing that, right? That they can, if they see you, this is how it works. If they see you, then they come to you, and when they come to you, they add their energy to yours. And when they add their
Yeah.
energy to yours, then basically they're helping you go invisible. That's what was happening with. That's what was happening with Barry. Remember when he was doing his prayer? He was doing his prayer, and that got his heart to vibrate. And then the Sasquatch came and
Yeah.
basically was standing right next to him. And then it was the Sasquatch adding his energy that made him disappear. And I think that's how it works. But the idea is to have you on their radar, so they have access to you.
Yeah.
Which is kind of, when you think
Well,
about it,
like I said,
it's pretty cosmic, because they don't really want to come to somebody who's not in their heart. You know what I mean? But you can do it when you
no.
play, sing, and you just love the nature, and you're having a good time. That's also your heart, right?
Yeah.
So that's why,
Yeah.
when you guys are having fun and you're out excited and all that kind of stuff, that's when they can come. They feel
Yeah.
comfortable to come to you. Yeah, pretty simple stuff,
Well,
really.
will you put that link in the Pork and Bean Show? And I'm going to apply myself and get off my lazy couch and try to do that. And maybe some other people are interested in it too. That'd be good.
No problem. I could put it on there. But like I said,
I think that'd be great.
Who's doing that meditation is Sam.
Chandler?
Yeah. And he was doing that meditation when his teacher came to him and did his initiation, and he was like bonded to him as a teacher. And that's pretty incredible.
Oh,
When you put those two and two together, that he had been doing that heart light meditation for, I don't know, a year, I guess. And then he was out there,
yeah.
and he was doing a heart light meditation, and the teacher came to him and just blew it up. You know what I mean?
Now, how did he come across that? Did he come across it from you talking about it,
Showed
or?
it to him.
Oh, well,
So I have
excellent. Well, yeah, I'm going to start doing it then, because you know, I just think I should. So anyway, yeah, put that in the messages. That'd be cool. Yeah, I'm going to start applying myself and see if I can
Well, you already got a
make it
pretty
work.
good connection. Although I don't know, what's good
No,
about it is when you're off, right? There's because lots of days we just feel off, out of it, and then you can do the heart light meditation to bring your vibration back up, or tune in, or whatever.
yeah. No, but it'd be good anyway. I mean, you can always enhance and move forward, right? So, Yeah, I'm gonna try it. So that'd be
Yeah,
good. Yeah. So maybe put it in the comments at some point before we get off or whatever, and
I might have it on my what
that'd
do you
be
call
cool.
it on my if I got it. Yeah, I got it right here. I can put I
Yeah,
can,
stick it in comments, and guys, this is pretty good stuff. So I recommend that you try it,
okay,
and I'm gonna
so
try it.
Christina DeRosio says, can on bean show up in my can on bean show up in my van during PSSR 2020. I'm thinking this had something to do with you. Well, that's pretty cool.
Well, everything. Well, that's what you
I
like to
don't know
hear because you want everything to be about you. Remember?
yeah, I don't know what that means, though. That's pretty cool, though. I don't know what PSSR is. So here's,
Did you hear what I said? That would make you awful happy because every show you're trying to make it all about you. So now you know. Oh, can of beans. Okay, a can of beans showed up on my van during the.
oh,
What is
that's
the
cool.
P?
During the PSSR 2020.
What's that?
Maybe that's the movie she made. I don't know.
I don't know
I'm
what
thinking
P.
this has something to do with you. Can of beans, right? That's cool.
I, yeah,
Here's
I was thinking.
the Heartlight meditation if anybody wants to learn how to
Cool,
do
man.
it.
Cool. No, I was thinking, when she said that, maybe the Sasquatch family reunion thing or whatever, but the initials don't link up. So I don't know what she's talking about. Anyway,
That's really cool. She said it, Michael's brand or something. My brand of pork and beans. That's funny. Let me
Michael's
get a little
brand.
Michael's brand.
Uh, hey, I ate a cup
So,
of,
no,
I got
but
it.
that's cool because that's another person. That's another person from watching our show that had some kind of Sasquatch or some kind of paranormal or wild, funny thing happen.
Yeah, we're
So you,
dangerous. We're a couple dangerous felons, spiritual felons. uh, okay, so you got that. Oh, good. You got that meditation on there. That's cool. That's cool. So,
yeah.
yeah, so yeah, the camp out's been going really good. Although first 3 or 4 days were the weather wasn't bad, but yesterday it was like an absolute monsoon. I don't think I've ever seen it rain so hard. But luckily we have a
That's kind of exciting, isn't it? When you see this like raw nature just so powerful around you. That's kind of
that was good,
cool.
It was good, Like usually you would think that rain would ruin, rain. You get disappointed because you can't go out and hike and stuff as much and do all that kind of stuff. But it was great because there's an enclosure there where we're staying with a big roof and whatever. And actually, I stuck my hammock in there and I'm just from a couple beams and I'm just sleeping under that. And so what we did is we just all sat around and there's a fire in there, a little fire stove, and you just throw the wood in. And we just sat around and we had like three of the native drums going and we were singing and laughing and high energy. And it was actually probably the most enjoyable day, even though the weather was like absolutely brutal. And I don't think it's getting any better. It's supposed to be bad the rest of the time, but that's cool.
That's pretty cool. I still think it's
You
cool.
know,
I remember one time I went camping and there was in Florida we have those kind of rains like 4 or 5 times a year where it's just coming down in buckets and with thunder.
yeah,
I
yeah.
was out.
But in Florida, my father lived in Florida. My mother and father for years and years and years, and I was down there a few times. Generally, and I may be wrong. You can correct me if I'm wrong, but the rains I experienced were like crazy, heavy, intense rains, but they only lasted for a short time, and then the sun came back again.
Yeah, that happens too.
Yeah.
Usually they're brief, but we have had rain that lasted for 14 days straight. So
Oh wow.
yeah.
Yeah. Well, we had 14 days rain in one day.
I was camping out on this beach with my girlfriend at the time, and it was a kind of interesting situation because I put in on one side of Florida, down in the Everglades, and then I drove my boat around to the other side. So it's right at the very bottom part of Florida. I drove my boat around the other side. There's miles and miles of beach and no people because it's sort of inside the Everglades National Park. So we were up there, and so there's nobody there. This is just, you know, around the beach, and Florida doesn't have any mountains or very tall trees. So the whole night was like, you know, up about 5 miles north of us, this huge storm thing came through, and it was like thundercloud after thundercloud. So it was like so we just got kind of wind and a little bit of rain, but up there you could just see it pouring down, and then this lightning coming down every few seconds, boom, 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 and it would light up everything, and it was just like the most awesome night. I mean, you're gonna get it. I didn't get any sleep, but it was incredible to see Mother Nature, you know, with your own eyes, doing her thing.
Well, I'll tell you what, it was raining so hard that if it keeps raining for an extended period of time, I'm going to start building an ark, because that's the only way I'm going to get out of there, because it was like a monsoon. Why is Mr. Giggly saying your comments are off? What does that mean? We're off color? Our comments are off color, or they're not linking up? What does he mean? Your comments are off.
All I see is
No, he said that in my chat. He said that privately to me in my chat box.
The comments.
I have noticed maybe what he's talking about. I have noticed on the videos that my voice, my lips, and my talking don't seem to link up. Everybody else's does. Maybe that's what he means. Because I'm talking from another dimension, I think, and so there's some time loss there.
Christina,
that's what I would say.
Rosia said, I felt like the message was, don't spill the beans. Oh wait, I gotta do something else. How long are we gonna be on? For another half hour or so?
Oh, we could go for another hour if we wanted, whatever.
Because
then 10:30 or something.
What I need to do is share to groups, right? That's what. Well,
yeah.
Our last video got over 1,000 views, so, but that comes from sharing to the.
Yeah, go for it.
Okay, well, let me put it in the share.
And if anybody wants to come on and say something for a little bit, this is a good time to do it, because, like you said, our guest had a family emergency, so we may do the show, reschedule it for Saturday, or we might just do it next week. I guess we'll decide. So, yeah, that's pretty cool, you know, when you share with like 30 groups or whatever that you're doing. Like, we usually get close to 1,000 views in the first hour or 90 minutes or so. It's pretty cool.
I don't want Grammarly. Grammarly.
So anyway, it's been, you know, even though we've only got like 5 full-time people there, you know, because obviously with the lunacy in the world today, we couldn't have any of our American friends come. So hopefully next year. But you know, it was a small, intimate group, and we've had some great experiences, and it's been magical, really. Oh, and Maureen Johnson, she says she wanted Mr. Beans there. You were saying the only thing missing is Mr. Beans.
That's great.
Yeah. So anyway, a friend of Susan, mine.
I spell Irie. A what? A.
A-R-R-R-I-E. Three R's. He gets an extra R. Yeah, he rates, so he gets one extra R in there. You know what I mean? Throw a little extra in for the big fella. That's just how I've always spelt it. You know, actually, his full name is, well, so I've been told. But, you know, like I said, what you call them really isn't important. It's just that if you connect with them through whatever name you think, I mean, you could call them George. And if you're focusing on a specific individual, you're going to connect with that name. So I've always said the names are cool, but they're not really all that important as far as your connection with them. But
Yeah,
yeah,
it's just we're fascinated with names, you know, but they're fascinated with feelings.
they're just fascinated with energy and connecting, and whatever you connect with,
Yeah,
whatever name
all
or
energy,
whatever, it doesn't really matter.
all energy has a feeling to it, you know, good, bad, and indifferent, high, low. It's all energy has a
Yeah.
feeling to it.
Yeah. So anyway, one of the ladies who came, that was, she was excited to come right from the beginning, is Laurel, a lady called Laurel, and she brought her brother. Um, I called him Greg. I'm screwed up and called him Greg a bunch of times, but his actual name is Gary. And I got the first letter right, at least, right? That's a good
First,
start.
the first annual
I mean, how many?
Ivory and family campout. The first annual Ivory RE and family campout. That's what it is, right?
Yeah. But how many letters are in the alphabet? 30 something. And I did get the first letter right anyway. The
27.
rest of it went all to crap. But so anyway, this lady, I think on the second night there, she was in her tent and she got zapped for the first time ever. She's got a connection with a clan on the
No
other side of the
kidding.
Fraser River here in British Columbia.
Was it a
Yeah,
good? Was
and
it a good zap, or was it a make you sick zap?
no, it was good. It
It
was
was good.
good.
You gotta be careful
She,
about that.
she was a little. She was a little. Yeah, no, it was good, and but it was also she thought that they were how she described it, and my experience too is probably that's what happened. So her description kind of rings a bell. Is she said she thought that they were just kind of testing how much she could handle or whatever,
Yeah.
and yeah, but she said she felt an intense energy, and it was like a new experience because when you've been zapped and there's no there's a bunch of different ways that they can do it and how you feel and whatever or the results, but nevertheless it was the first time she was zapped, and she said like I said, they're testing her metal, so to speak. And then the next night she heard them somewhere in behind her tent, and they were snapping big branches, and like she said, it sounded like they were picking up huge boulders and putting them on top of other boulders and stuff. And so I'm making a big racket in behind there. And she also said she figured that they were building a structure or something back there. That's what it sounded like. But we went back there and checked it out, and there was nothing there, which is not unusual because they can throw any kind of sound or have you hear any kind of sound they want. Sue's experienced that a lot. For instance, she's been camping before and heard like the sounds of like gravel being moved or like big kind of digging or something going on, like really loud and sounded directly behind her tent kind of thing. And then got up the next morning and not seen a darn thing. So I wasn't surprised that we didn't find anything.
So that's really cool. So people, I mean, to get like a energy zap or that's significant. People can go
Yeah, well, she got her.
people can go out
Yeah,
in the
go
woods
ahead.
for like 30 years and not get that.
Well, that's because if bottom line, and we've talked about this before, if you connect with them with the heart, with respect, and the other elements in play that they connect with people for, uh, then you can have that kind of experience. But yeah, most people are not going to get that because they're not open to that or open to a relationship with them. So, or whatever. So yeah, that was very cool. And so she was pretty excited. And of course, I took everybody around and showed them all the structures. And there's been some pretty cool glyphs. And we've had some screams and some different things, like letting us know that they're around. And so, and actually, yesterday we're all sitting around and underneath this big enclosure with a big roof on it and whatever, which is good because with that torrential downpour, like it's raining like cats and dogs, to say the least. we're all sitting under there, and a big, huge rock went bang right off the roof. And actually, Laurel seen it hit the grass, and then she went and picked up the rock, and she said it looked like there was a fossil or something in it. But anyway, she kept it, and it's a souvenir for her. But yeah, and of course, the energy's been extremely high. It's been really, really good, actually. And unfortunately, well, fortunately, no, I won't say unfortunately, because whatever happens is cool. But and if it hadn't have been like one of the heaviest rains I've ever seen in my life, shortly after that rock smashed off or crashed off the roof, I have a feeling we would have had like a night for the ages. But it was just a torrential downpour, some winds and stuff. So I don't think they're going to want to come out and play too much in that kind of weather. But yeah, pretty cool.
Who knows?
Well, I mean, it wasn't that great when they threw the rock off the roof, so maybe they will. But anyway, the good news is we're there till Saturday, and I'm not going to say bad news, but it's also supposed to rain for the rest of the time. So, and not just a sprinkle. So,
Well, that kind of sucks.
oh well. Yes and no, because like I said, we probably had our best day yesterday when we were all huddled around underneath the enclosure there, and we got my drum, right? My Raven drum.
Yeah.
Well, the same guy who made that, actually Randy Barnes and I bought one for Randy Brisson because we're appreciative of him, because he kind of was the one who. Well, I mean, I got the invite to go to the mountains or whatever, but he was the first guy I connected with and kind of took me out there, and just everything just snowballed from there. But so I had Randy Barnes and I had a drum made for him, so he had his drum, and Randy Barnes had his drum, all from the same drum maker as the Blue Heron, and I had mine, and we were just having like an incredible jam. Like, really, when you start playing the drums and you kind of go into different place or whatever, it was pretty intense and a lot of fun. And of course, singing and joking and man, I'm telling you, the camp food has been absolutely amazing. Like I'm eating better out in the woods than I do at home, because I'm pretty lazy for cooking. I'll throw a can of pork and beans on or something at home, or I don't, or go out to a restaurant or whatever. I'm not a bachelor. I'm got a serious relationship with Sue, but we don't, because she's in the States, and with the situation right now, we don't see each other too much at the moment. So I'm doing my own cooking and stuff like that. But like we had a chicken, some kind of chicken thing that Laurel and Gary made last night and shared with me, and it had like a red sauce pasta and
You're talking
what?
curry chicken? Curry chicken's delicious.
No. It was like a spaghetti red sauce, and it had chicken in it, and those spirally little noodles, whatever. It tasted like a spaghetti pasta or whatever, but with chicken. And I've never, my mother's father was Sicilian, right?
Really?
And he was actually in the mafia. He was actually in the mafia, believe it or not. And I guess he's gone now. So he was like actually the Don of a big section of Ontario. He was like the head guy. And every Sunday when we would go over there, he'd have a huge, great big pot of spaghetti going in the kitchen, and always a red sauce with spicy red sauce with quite often pork ribs and whatever, and then the meat would just fall off the bone. And anyway, so I was brought up on a red sauce, so when I order pasta, it's always a red sauce. I don't like that. What's that other one? The cream sauce, or what's that white stuff called?
It's called cream sauce or something. It's there's a name for it.
I can't remember the name. Anyway, I don't eat. I never eat that. But yeah, it was just amazing, and the quality of the food has been awesome. And then I also bought a little this little cookware set where I got 2 pots and a frying pan and a couple cups in it, and it's like it heats the food up so fast. I've been having bacon and eggs and hash browns and
What kind of stove was
just
it?
eating like a king out there.
Was it one of the, what kind of a stove was it?
Just one of those little tiny ones. I don't know what they're called. It's a little tiny thing, like it's about, that how you just put a little propane or a little gas butane cylinder underneath it. You screw it in, then the flame comes up, and you just put your pot on there. It's really tiny and it's like really compact. And
Is it kind of like you kind of screw on the top of one of those bottles or something?
absolutely, that's exactly what it is.
It's just like this little
And
thing. It's like, and then you screw it on, and that's the whole stove. Yeah,
yeah, absolutely.
They look like
Those things are great because
one burner.
exactly, but they're so light. They're just like super convenient. Like even if I go back in the backcountry or whatever, I can take them, because they're extremely light. And maybe this cookware too that I bought is really conducive to heating up fast because literally I've got bacon and eggs and hash browns in like 3 or 4 minutes. It's just like, and coffee heats up in just a few minutes. It's really, really quite cool. So I got a really cool camp set now for when I go backpacking in the backcountry in the future. But yeah, that was cool. Yeah, so I mean, when the vibes are really, really high because everyone's really high energy and it's kind of like everyone's happy and whatever. So it's just been a great time, even with the weather. So, and of course, took everybody around to show them all their structures and stuff, and everybody's always amazed when they see that because they're just,
You got some great.
they are so
Yeah.
They're so
Can they see the one that looks like a little
What?
fairy hideout with the little sticks on it? And that was one of your structures there, right? It was like, it's a real small one, but it goes up into the hollow of a stump. That thing.
Absolutely. We went, yeah. The first day we went around the campground, and that was actually the one Laurel wanted to see because she actually saw that on the video because I had posted that a few days prior to the camp out, and yeah, we saw that, and there was structures everywhere. Like they are so prolific up here with their structures. It's just like, it's kind of funny. You have to chuckle because there's so much overwhelming evidence of them, and people just don't even notice it. I don't know who they think makes it, but maybe kids or something, or they just don't pay any attention to it. But it's kind of funny in a way. But then again, the people are supposed to notice it too. So I guess there's that element too, right? But
Yeah, well, I noticed it. I thought it was pretty cool. I mean, it looked like it was just like a little fantasy. That's definitely something that human beings would do, is like make a little fantasy, like a little house for elves or something.
yeah. Well, I mean, like I've always said, like to me, the glyphs are. I've never questioned the glyphs. I mean, because there's just no other explanation for them. But some of the structures on the odd occasion, people will make them, but the consistency year in and year out, in the signs and whatever, like they'll put Y sticks in them, and the way they make the roof, and 3 or 4 different designs, and they show up annually or whatever. It's you just get to know what you're looking at. But there was one thing cool that happened the other day. I was and this is once again how they do things, and they can read your mind, and they can, what you're talking about, then you'll see, kind of thing or whatever. So it also involves the time thing and whatever too. I was going around making a video, and I saw a ring of rocks, big ring of rocks out on the moss, and so I'm making a video, I'm talking about it, and I said, well, quite often you'll see them make these fire pits, simulated fire pits, and you have the little peel sticks crisscross to simulate fire and stuff. And so this is the beauty of how things work with them quite often, at least with me. And, so right after I made that comment, I walked across the road, and what did I see? A fire pit with a little crisscross sticks in it. So that was kind of cool. But yeah, it was really nice. it was really nice sharing those structures and everything with everybody. And Laurel really was impressed with that little fairy hut or whatever it was. She really wanted to see that.
Little
So,
fairy house.
yeah, but
we don't actually know. It could be like that's one of the little fairy portals where they go run in there and disappear. You never know.
I suppose so. I suppose so. I mean, I saw a couple of Y sticks stuck in it, and I also saw the open triangle glyph that I'm familiar with. So there was some of the stuff that I'm familiar with that was in there. Oh, and actually, oh yeah, right. And when I first arrived, I always go and there's a little mossy area in the back with the trees or whatever. It's not a small area, but it's not super huge. And I always walk around and check it out. This is in the private campground, because it's very prolific back in there for their glyphs and structures and stuff. And quite often you'll find something. So I'm just checking out the area and whatever. And the next day I noticed something just in behind the enclosure, our campsite, and it was a stump, and it had all kinds of little sticks stuck in it, and it had a Y stick, and it had just some of their signs or whatever, and different things that you associate with them. So I think that they made it after I arrived, like the first day, somewhere that day, and between the first day and the next morning. So that was kind of cool too.
Hey, does Randy B work? I sent him a little link if he's around.
Well, he's at the campsite. Why would he be around? He's the guy who's hosting it with me.
Oh, I did not know that.
If he's around, he's around telepathically, but I don't know if he's mastered that yet.
Then he's not. He's gonna get an invitation when he gets home, I guess.
Yes, so. But anyway, and there's always kind of a guy or a newbie that's kind of getting introduced to this whole phenomenon and this teaching and the Sasquatch people or whatever. And Laurel's brother has had just his first couple Sasquatch experiences, like just getting started. And of course, when he came, he's like getting his eyes wide open, like. It's been really good for him. So, yeah. Absolutely.
Has anybody cooked any frank and beans yet? Pork and beans?
Yeah. Yeah, I did.
Cool.
I did in honor of the show, just as a tribute to the show. Yeah. Actually, I shared them with Randy B. They were vegetarian beans, though. He's a vegetarian, so. But they were good. They were good. Bush's vegetarian beans.
There's something about the smoke from the campfire when it gets in the food, Don't know what that is, but it's like it makes everything taste better, like smoked beans instead of just. Okay. Oh wait, that's not you're cooking on a cook stove, so you didn't get that smoky flavor business.
No, but still, everything to me always. I mean, we're getting some real quality chow out there. Like everything just tastes way better. Like I made everybody breakfast a couple mornings, like sausages and eggs and hash browns and stuff, and then I ate that pasta thing that Laurel and Gary shared with me the other day, and yeah, the food has been phenomenal. And yeah, I agree with you. It always seems to taste better when you're camping for some reason. I don't know why, but it really.
Well, I'm getting tired of sending these invites out.
So anyway.
Anywho.
That I decided that I wanted to go and get the ladies a special rock or something, for thanking them for showing up. It was Maureen Johnson, and she's been on the show talking a couple times, just briefly as just kind of as a visitor to our show, and Laurel. So I went to a rock shop in town, right? I walk in, and first of all, the lady's not wearing a mask, and so I said, "Oh, you're not a masker, right?" And she said, "No." And she was kind of on the same page with what I believe or whatever. We were discussing it a little bit, and subject came up about I said I wanted some rocks or whatever, and specific things, and for like opening your consciousness and well-being and just whatever. And I said, you probably wouldn't believe what they're for. And this is beautiful, because this is how they connect people, like no coincidence. So I said, you probably wouldn't believe what they're for. And I said, it's for a Sasquatch campout. And her eyes just lit right up. And she says, I've got a connection with Sasquatch.
No kidding.
No, yeah, absolutely. And then
this was in a store.
In a rock and gem kind of store. So I wanted to get the girls, and then they ended up buying Gary a couple of rocks too. I just wanted to give him a gift as thank you for coming. So yeah, so as I'm looking around in the store and talking to her, she said, "Yeah, I've got a connection with Sasquatch." And what she told me is one time she saw one walking through her backyard. It's walking through the backyard, and then it just disappeared into thin air.
Wow! Wow!
So.
I'm so glad to hear that, because I was in I think it was in Pennsylvania research something or other group, right?
Yeah.
And on the about section it says, "Oh, don't argue with people, blah blah blah," and da da da. And then it says, "Oh, we don't go into woo here. We don't go into woo. We only want science, right?" And I was like, "What? What are you people talking about? Science is based on data." And if you have data of people disappearing, or seeing Sasquatch disappear, or they disappear, that's data. How can you throw that stuff out? And but so I'm glad to hear that there's more people who see Sasquatch disappear, or they themselves have disappeared. You can't get away from the woo, because that's part of the mix.
No, it's not part of the mix. It's the whole thing, really. To me, that's where all the learning.
Energy zap, love zap. That's not a flesh and blood thing. You're getting feelings coming from invisible places.
Listen, all the teachings and the real true connection with them is through the heart and with energy or whatever. And I guess people would call that woo. And if they want to discard it, well, I'm not judging them, but they're not going to get the full meal deal, so to speak. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
That's where the magic, and that's where the true connection is with the Sasquatch people. So I'm not going to criticize them or judge them, but if they opened up their hearts and their minds a little bit, they'd experience the true thing, because Sasquatch aren't going to teach people who aren't open-minded and open-hearted. They're not interested in them. If that sounds harsh, well, that's just the way it is, right?
Yeah,
you got to be open to that.
Human beings are not very pleasant to be around. If they're not in their heart, or they're not happy, they're not very pleasant beings to be around.
No.
And this whole research thing, like you already know it. You already know what my feeling is. Research is like a 14-year-old boy is trying to research a girl how to get a date, and then they got to do all this kind of funny stuff. It's peeking in the windows.
Yeah. And I apologize to anybody who doesn't believe in woo, and I think they think I'm being harsh with them. But seriously, that's where it's at. That's really where it's at. So if you just want to go around looking for footprints and science and all that stuff, you're never going to really understand the true nature of them, and they're never really going to connect with you, and they're never really going to teach you in a profound and meaningful way. So listen, Mr. Beans, I came home to have a shower, do my laundry, stuff of that nature. So you're going to have to say something intelligent. I know that's hard, but I have to say something profound while I go and check my laundry. Can you do that?
Go ahead, say something profound. Yeah, go ahead. Who are you?
Yeah, I'm going to go check that, Well, yeah, say something profound, and when I come back and edit the video or whatever, I'm gonna see if he actually says something that makes sense.
I'll tell
So I'll see
Sasquatch.
in a bit. Okay, tell us something.
The Sasquatch joke is, oh, there's Carl Sup. Again, sorry I had to reschedule, guys. No worries, Carl. You got family business to take care of and schedules and stuff. We love you. I'm not really sure what's going on for Saturday because Brian hasn't committed yet. He's still kind of in this like in the fantasy land. Eric Cope, yeah, yay. And that's it for our. Well, it's Thursday, so we're doing pretty good for a Thursday. Yeah. So I was thinking about that Sasquatch joke. You know, we're talking about woo, right? Woo and I think if I'm ever going to get on a regular researchers talk show, I'll tell that joke where, you know, the Sasquatch say, oh, if we know some researchers who think we're monsters, and then they die for some reason, then what we'll do is we'll go up to heaven and beat them there, and then when they get to heaven and they're looking around, seeing all their friends and stuff, then they're going to see us standing there. We're going to say, hey, how's it going? Welcome to heaven. And they thought that's so hilarious, you know, because like, well, you know, their whole life they've seen Sasquatches monsters, and they're apes and pure apes and stuff, and then they go to heaven and it's a Sasquatch. I think that's funny, but that's kind of in a nutshell, you know, with the UFO people, right? We had like 50 years of people looking at UFOs and wondering about UFOs. And then sort of like about 25 or so years ago, they started like realizing that there was beings inside the craft, right? And but now there's millions of people have had contacts with the beings inside the craft, and there's people who channel the Palladians and channel the Syrians and messages and all this kind of stuff. And there's people out in Arizona, the Sasquatch, the ET people are actually teaching humans how to do the mind speak thing. They have like a little class, like Sue Walker. She's teaching people how to do mind speak so they can contact with the ETs, and ETs come to their house and stuff like that. That's extremely cool. So what I'm saying is, if you miss out on the woo part of it, then you're missing out on the whole show, you know? So we go from UFOs as these, you know, metal beings, and UFOs is a little light and balls and all these different kind of ways of looking at the outside of a UFO. And eventually they figured out there was beings on the inside, and those beings are doing all kind of stuff. They're healing people and upgrading their vibration and giving them downloads of information. And it's going to be the same way with Sasquatch. Yep. So once you get away from the outside look of the Sasquatch and you get into what's going on inside them, then you get upgrades, your energy gets higher, you get downloads of information, you make connections about the universe or the all one or the nature or something. Your life gets better. So if you're not on that page, then what are you doing? I mean, how many footprints can you have? There's people like have like 100 footprints that they collect and have 100 bags of scat. And it's like, well, okay, well, what else have you learned, you know? And there's people who know when they get up, when they go to bed, when they do this, when they do that. They know everything about Sasquatch, but they still have missed the whole show, because the show is to be friends, family, friends, you know? And that's, and that's where the fun is, I tell you, you know, and let them be your teachers, your big brothers, and, you know.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, I mean, I'm just stating my experiences and what I've noticed. And like, once again, I apologize if I sound critical to anybody. I don't want to judge anybody, but you know, a good illustration of that is you go and see some of these guys who are just all science and all, footprints and the length of stride and what all that stuff. And you see them and you go and see them talking at a conference 5 or 6 years prior, and then you see them like today or whenever, and it's the same presentation, and they haven't really.
Yeah.
You don't see any progress. It's just like, well, we set these game cams up and they didn't show up, and we did this. And
what I said to those people was, they said, "Oh, it's this, we have everything based on science." And I said, "Well, if you look at quantum physics, when you get down to the very atom, there's nothing physical there. So according to the actual science, it's all woo. There is no physical in the physical. It's all woo. It's all energy. It's all invisible. You know, it's nothing solid in matter. There's no matter in matter. So how can we talk about science?" And then the other thing I said was, if you're a researcher and you're researching Sasquatch, then you throw out every time somebody says mind speak, you throw that out. Every time somebody talks about invisible, you throw that out. Every time you see orbs, the people see orbs and flashes of lights, you throw that out. Every time you have these synchronicities and these messages, you throw all that stuff out. Then you're not really doing research. You know what I mean? That's not research. Research.
You're doing research with conditions.
Yeah,
with preconceived conditions, with boxes of beliefs.
Yeah,
right.
You're starting with you're starting with an end game, and then you're only adding stuff that feeds into your end game.
Yeah. Well, I mean,
that's not science, and even all science has a hard time with it today.
Yeah, I mean, if you're comfortable within that box of beliefs, fine. But the learning is when you discover things outside that box of beliefs, new knowledge or whatever. So if you're not open to what you're experiencing, I mean, and some of these people have been introduced to this stuff, but they just, like you say, they just throw it out.
Listen, I have not heard not one. I listened to hundreds of videos of talks and stuff. There's not one that doesn't have the woo. Because says, "Oh, I was in the woods and my hair stood up on my hair standing up on your arm." That's woo. "Oh, I was and I felt they were looking at me." Right? Well, if you're looking around, there's nothing physical there, and you're feeling somebody's looking at you. "Oh, yeah, it was strong. It felt like somebody was looking at me." That's woo. That's that's mind speak, and it just goes on. I was in this area and I felt like maybe I shouldn't go there. I was afraid to go there. Right? You hear this on every single. That's woo.
Mm-hmm.
I was afraid to go there, or something I'll say. I just had this feeling that the Sasquatch were around. They just felt like that. That's woo. Every single show and every single person who's a researcher who's actually going out in the woods, they all talk about woo. You know what I mean? And they just don't recognize. I heard all the crickets and stuff started making noises, and the frogs and that's woo. That's the animal woo. You think a little bug, little bug cricket is going, "Oh, I think there must be a predator around, so I'm going to stop making noise." No, that's woo. You know what I mean? It's just the energy field that goes out there. It's just danger energy field. So,
well, like I said, if you want to live inside that box of beliefs, and then you're just never going to grow and evolve outside of that box, and the true relationship with.
I'm not worried about it because the Sasquatch are taking care of it. I've been watching this for a while. The people who are coming along with the woo, right? Even if it takes them 4 or 5 or 6 years, it's sooner or later. Like Ron Moorhead, right? He's talking now about the paranormal and how the quantum physics really is showing you that all this stuff is entirely possible. All that mind speak and invisibility and transformations and all the stuff that we talk about, he's talking about it, and he was a diehard physical guy for forever. So you see people are coming along, right? And it pretty much has to go that way, because they're going to come to an end of what they call research, which is not research.
Yeah. Well, actually, hey, you're going to be really proud of me here, Mr. Beans.
What did you do? Do you have a new customer coming and want to talk?
hold on. No, I'm going to actually read some comments from the Pork and Beans Peanut Gallery,
All
which
right.
is
Okay, that's
probably
great.
a great shock to you. Eric Cope says, yes, let them be your teachers.
Yeah.
And Christine McDonald says, in reference to what we just been talking about, so true. Open mind, open heart, love woo.
Oh, whoa, yeah. Look, here's the
Oh
other
yeah,
thing.
yeah.
Here's go ahead.
Most of just about pretty much everybody in our group, hopefully, or most of them, or if not, they're willing to learn or whatever, or consider things in our group would understand what we're talking about. It's so, you know, we're pretty fortunate to have such good people in the
You get
group
all
that
these,
can
you get all these
actually
guys. You get all these guys.
understand that concept.
You get all these guys are Christians, right? And you go, well, did you ever experience God like in the church or outside of church? And they go, oh yeah, I know God, right? That's woo. I got news for you. That's woo, right? Did you ever feel love, for somebody and they're not in your, and you're right there with you? That's woo. To feel love for somebody who's not around, right? Whether the kids
Yeah,
are at school or your best girlfriend or best buddy was in another state, and you're connected to them. That's woo. Uh,
yeah,
faith is woo. All this kind of almost everything in the
yeah,
Bible is woo. It's so I don't know
yeah.
where do they get that disconnect that like only the Bible can have woo in it. You know. What is Christ doing? Christ goes invisible and changes water into wine and does all these healings and stuff. That's all woo, all of it.
Yeah.
So how can it be? How can your whole faith in life be based on the woo of the Bible? But then when there's woo out here in the world, no, I can't. There's no woo. Forget about the woo. It's
Well,
funny. It's
that
funny business.
well, sometimes in the case of the religious, just strictly on the religious point of view of it, uh, you know, um, if anything is introduced that is outside of that box of religious beliefs, and that goes for pretty well any religion. I'm not singling any out. Um, Devotees of that religion or whatever, and I'm not judging anything about it, will not. It's very hard for them to step outside of that box because they are so indoctrinated into that belief of like only God can talk to you or speak to you, and if it's not him, then it's demonic or whatever. So there's a lot of barriers in the way of people opening their minds and whatever, and realizing it's all connected anyway, and there just might be a part of the story that's missing, right?
Yeah, and then listen,
That they're not considering.
woo is something that is part of a fabric of our being because back in ancient times, before we even lived in houses, we had hunters and trackers, and the trackers would find the animals with woo. And there's actually people who are trained trackers now, right? They would find the animal with woo. And what they would do is they'd see a track, and then they would connect to that animal just like a dowsing rod. They connect to that animal, and they were tuned in enough to they'd actually see a little ribbon of light or a little ribbon of energy, and then they would just follow that energy, and they would take them right to that animal. And
Yeah, well, that's a good point because actually
so it's built into us for
yeah,
sure.
Randy Brisson, my friend, is a tracker and a very spiritual guy, and he knows all about all their magical abilities and all that stuff. And I heard from somebody else who was seeing tracks as well, or trackers, that sometimes if you're really like connected into it, you can actually visualize and see the actual animal in your mind, or not animal. Well, yeah, animal or man, and as in reference to Sasquatch, actually walking. You can actually see them, visualize them walking.
No,
And
absolutely. A good tracker. Let's say the animal, let's say it was a goat, right? And the big sheep or some big goat goes out to a herd. A good tracker will be able to look at that whole herd and pick out that one animal because of the vibe.
yeah,
And there's more too. Like we have this thing called remote viewing. And remote viewing is
yeah,
where people sit in their little house, right? and they get a little piece of paper or a little envelope or something that has a number on it, and then they start writing down these things, and they remote view any place at any time, right?
Yeah.
And there's people in another room doing the same thing, and they all put their little information together, and they find out, oh, there's there's some gold in this mountain, or there's some oil over here in this location or something, right? This is 100% woo, right? It's remote viewing is 100% woo, and that's $1 billion a year business. $1 billion, because all the big businesses use it, corporations use it, the governments use it. So that's one thing. Then there's another one called animal communicators, right? There's a 5-year degree. It takes 5 years to get a degree in animal communication. It's a long training. It's all kind of hands-on, right? But when they're done, then they can work with champion horses, champion dogs. They work with zoos. They work with people who have problems with their pets. And these people are making, 5-figure incomes, like $50,000, $80,000 a year, just by being doing mind speak with animals. So that there's two professions that are so it's not like something hidden. These are actual professions, and for the what do you call remote viewing, there's classes for that. There's actually college. There's like a class you go to, and it costs money, and it takes a year or two to learn how to do it and practice and everything. So this is like the most established in terms of woo. It's pretty established. You know what I'm saying? And then there's the psychics, right? The psychic, like we've had psychic readings. We've had people read us, like, right? The psychics. Almost every major city, their police force has a psychic, on their Rolodex. So they have a problem, right? They're trying to find somebody, or trying to solve a case or cold case or something. The psychic will be called in, and they'll say, oh, well, go look over here. Oh, yeah, that person's dead. Sorry to say, you have to go up in this part of the woods or over here or whatever. And they find it, and they solve these cases. This is on almost every major city in the United States and in Canada. If it's a big city, they will have access to a couple of these psychics, you see? And
yeah.
So
I know a friend who had an animal that was in ailing health, declining health or whatever. And, I guess he could, talk to his dog or communicate with it in the same way you're referring to. And he told me that the dog, like I said, it was nearing its end, and the dog said, I'm ready to go. I'm ready to go. And then I guess he took the dog in and had him put to sleep. But I mean, that the dog apparently communicated that thought to him. So it's
that's just one.
That would be something. Yeah, that would be something that would be great. That would be a really good course to take, I think. And animal communicator or whatever. That'd be fascinating.
Yeah, you tune into them, and there's a way that you basically connect with them. Yeah. So I mean,
absolutely.
There's woo woven into the fabric of reality, and just people are just like tossing that out, like, In my opinion, here's my opinion. Let's say there's so many people out there that have PTSD, and they have the Sasquatch coming around banging on their house, and they're killing their dogs and stuff like that. And these people are freaked out, right? In my opinion, if there was like a well-known psychics, right, that know about Sasquatch, that for a small fee they could go out and communicate with the Sasquatch and solve the situation. And on the reverse of that is the people who are out there, the researchers, if they had access to a psychic, they could just say, oh, listen, we want to go to such and such a place and such. The psychic will tell them, go here at this time, and you'll make a connection. It would, if they put the psychic in there, they would have like 100% guarantee of when to go and what to do and what's going to happen. You know what I mean? Because the psychics that we know can tell you that. They can tell you, oh yeah, well they're doing this or doing that. Show up on this next weekend or whatever, and it's all prearranged.
Yep.
To me, that's the way to do it.
Yeah.
If you're gonna do research, you get a psychic. And what do they do? There's the paranormal guys, right? And they have the EBT things and their little and all the little stuff that they try to get the ghosts, and the ghosts talk to them. All those guys have a psychic sitting in the van, walks in there and said, "Oh, well, this is a spirit that did this, and another spirit, and a little boy, or an old guy, or civil." You know what I'm saying? They tell you, the psychic will tell the whole story about what's going on. And that's woo, and that's actually a business. There's people who are ghostbusters and paranormal investigators and stuff like that. So the idea of not having any woo at all in a group or in your research project is just like shooting yourself in the foot. You know, it's like it would be the same thing as
yeah.
Go ahead.
You were talking about that remote viewing, and I there's obviously something to it, but I got to admit, I had kind of a bad taste with it initially because when I was first hearing about it, there was this guy, and I'm not going to name names because I don't believe in throwing negative energy or criticizing somebody and putting a name on it or whatever. That's just not cool. I think that's classless, and it's negative energy. But to make a long story short, there was this guy on Coast to Coast all the time, and he was a remote viewer. But every time that guy came on, I turned the show off immediately because all this guy was talking about was this destruction and this is going to happen. And he never had anything good to say. It was all doom and gloom. And, being creators and creating our own reality, I said, I'm not listening to that. I'm not going to buy into that. I'm not believing it's all doom and gloom. I'm going to believe in light and sunshine and hope and enlightenment and human evolution. And, if I want to create doom and gloom, then I'll think like that. But I'm sorry, I'm not going to do that. So I kind of had a bad introduction to the remote viewing thing, and I thought, this is not, as soon as this guy would come on Coast to Coast, it's like click, not listening to you, buddy. I don't need that negativity like.
Yeah, but that's what sells.
Shoved at me.
Everybody wants to be shocked. Everybody wants to be afraid. Everybody wants to hear the doom and gloom, and that's what sells.
Yeah.
That's
why
the researchers are all into like, oh, it was an angry monster is going to get you.
Yeah. But I also had another thought. That I don't know if I've mentioned it on Pork and Beans before, but I've thought this for a long time. We all get that introduction. Like when people go out into the woods of nature, they may not understand what's going on, and it may be on the most rudimentary level that they can't even understand, but there's something that lifts up their spirits and they feel good and they feel some kind of connection or something, even if it's very minimal. And that's an introduction to, there's more here if you're open to, if you're open to it, there's more here. And then when you get open to it and your heart opens up and whatever, then that's when the teaching starts coming in and the real connection with Sasquatch or whoever you're connecting with out there, nature spirits, whatever it is, happens. So it's kind of like it's giving everybody the opportunity, letting them know, even though they may not understand it, So.
But Japanese have a name for that. It's something about, it's translated into something like the healing in nature, or nature healing, or something like that. Or by being in nature, you become healed, or something. Then it's actually a thing. They recognize it as a thing. You're not feeling good, you just take a nice walk in a beautiful park,
Yeah. So, when you, for instance, if somebody starts feeling that and then they start going back and then they start sitting somewhere and meditating and thinking on it, whatever, I mean, miracles and magic and all this stuff can happen for you. So there is some kind of introduction to almost everybody. I won't say almost everybody, but anybody with any kind of heart and open mind or whatever, that there's some kind of introduction that you can, do I want to take this or do I want to consider it? Do I want to get outside of my box of beliefs? And, so.
Yeah, so anyway, they're coming along because that's the way it's going to go. There's no way around it. because
Yeah.
you start adding up all the synchronicities and all the people who are having experiences and all the people who are talking about mind speaking. Well, you had that book on the SASQUATCH, right?
Yeah.
That was
What about it?
that was written by the Sasquatch. And then you have the Sasquatch Message to Humanity. There's 3 of those books. That was written by the Sasquatch. They're basically,
Yeah.
the Sasquatch are actually teaching or
Yeah. Yeah. And if personally for myself, if I ever get motivated, because like I said, writing and creating and singing and art and everything is really easy for me. But when I have to actually put the work in, I've been sitting on this, like, for instance, I've been sitting on this book. I got 300-400 pages written, but, now that I have to edit it and put the pictures in and all line it up and whatever and make it, look like an actual book or whatever. I mean, that's where the work comes in. And so, hopefully I'll eventually do that. But my point is that, like you said, yeah, I mean, when I'm writing that stuff or whatever, I feel the Sasquatch. Like I put RE as the co-author or whatever in my mind, because they are working through me. They're writing the book with me, and it's very, very obvious. So your point about those other books or whatever is, I think is absolutely true.
And also songs. There's almost every song we've ever heard of that is a great song was they got that from somewhere. I was just writing it down. It just came to me. That's woo,
Well, I'm been singing and writing songs for a long time now, and I remember when I was younger, working with this guy, we were writing, recording, and all that stuff. He'd start playing something, and I'd have a song come to me immediately, like not even with any thought. It was just like. And, quite often it would almost be like perfect, just as it is. Even the words and everything, the melody, it would just be like, sing it once and there it is. And I always had the feeling I'm going somewhere and bringing this back from someplace. It's like.
And those are usually the best songs.
Well, absolutely. It felt like I was actually going to another reality dimension, however you want to say it, and bringing that material back. And I mean, people have written good songs in their dreams or whatever. They've had them presented to them, and stuff. I've heard that a lot too. So
you got the movie The Matrix.
That's a real thing.
The movie The Matrix, and then and the same lady who did The Matrix, she wrote the books. She wrote about what was that one with Arnold Schwarzenegger, and he was going back in time and trying to kill the kid and all that stuff. I forget what the name of that name.
Oh, the Terminator.
The Terminator, right?
Terminator.
She had 3 Terminator books and 3 Matrix books, and they're actually the same, right? The Terminator was before the Matrix, and they're the same. That she said that all came to her in one day, and it took her like a few months to write it all out, but it all came to her in one time. And the same thing about there's just a lot of things that are like that. I mean, how can you write 3 books on the Terminator and 3 books on the Matrix, and it just came at one time,
Mm-hmm.
Here's another thing.
Yeah.
Here's another thing. A lot of people don't consider this, right? People who are Christians, and I like to make fun of Christians because they're easy to make fun of. They go, this is the word of God. This is the word of God. God wrote this book. I'm thinking, do you really think God came down and sat on a table and took a pen and started writing stuff out? No. It's the inspired word of God, right? Meaning that there's some guy there who's channeling God, just like we have people who channel God now. So the whole entire book is is channeling from people who are tuned in. Obviously they're tuned in. I'll give them that. It's good stuff in the Bible, all that. But it wasn't God taking the pen and writing. That's not what happened.
Yeah. Well, for instance,
the entire Bible is done by psychic connection.
Yeah. Yeah. A perfect example of that is like Sunbow's books, channeled messages.
Channel messages
from the source, right? My book, if I ever put it out, is the same thing. It's like, yeah, I mean, they're working through you like with however the vessel is. With me, it's like a whole download of ideas. I may not get the details, but then also when I'm writing them out, I can feel them working with me. Other people get the mind speak or the however they do it, but it's the same thing. It's channeled messages, and that's how the Bible had to be written too.
There's 7-year-old kids.
You know, like duh.
There's 7-year-old kids who are designing spacecraft, right? 7 years old, designing spacecraft, and they have the engineering and mathematics for the propulsion system. What are we talking about here?
Yeah.
You see what I'm saying? That little kid was connected to somebody, and somebody's just saying, "Here, now do it this way." This, and he's just like writing stuff down. That's almost every invention that we've ever had. Like, I'll give you an example, like the Wright brothers, right? The Wright brothers making the first airplane. But at the same time they were making the first airplane, there was 6 or 7 other guys doing it. So within the same year, there was like 5 or 6 different airplanes all took off in the same year. You know what I'm saying? So it's like, that means everybody was connected. How could everybody be connected doing the same thing at the same month, the same year? That's woo too.
Yeah.
Most of our inventions, you know, download.
Absolutely. By the way, how's my voice today? Is it backing up, working?
It sounds nice today, but maybe it's
because I backed up a little bit.
Yeah, and maybe it's because you're not as excited. When you're excited, you project your voice like that. Oh, this is when I experienced this. Okay. So
what are you saying? I'm hysterical?
Huh?
Are you saying I'm hysterical?
Yeah, you're hysterical. You're not.
Oh, so when I'm like.
You're not hysterical. You're ecstatical. You get excited.
Ecstatical.
Yeah, ecstasy. You're ecstatic.
I like that word. I like the word. I like the word ecstatical. It's a solid word. Solid word.
Woo is highly spiritual. That's right. Mary Jean Sutton. Woo is highly.
Well,
spiritual.
Yeah.
I think that's what
absolutely.
It is. It's spiritual. Patrick Gigi says, Cassadia said hello. Hi, Cassadia.
Hey, Cassadia. Yeah, we're getting good at being polite on this show. It's not in my nature, but
we have to be.
We got to make the people think that we love them, right? We got to make them think we care, Beans.
Well,
this is show business.
If it wasn't for them,
I forgot.
If it wasn't for them, I would never talk to you.
Yeah, because you don't even like me all that much. But you figure that,
myself that much. But but Sasquatch gives me the poke, and it makes me laugh, and I go, oh my God, I haven't laughed that hard in years, right? I was doing stupid stuff. This is like fun, like kids playing in the sandbar.
Yeah. By the way, I already mentioned this, but Maureen Johnson, right?
Yeah.
Well, she did. I'm not sure if I mentioned. I think I did. She was saying that she really missed you. She was hoping you could have been there. Pork and beans live on both. Can you imagine? Can you imagine the thrill that people would have having pork and beans live on location? I mean, can you imagine anything like so thrilling? That would be. Man, people would just be ecstatic.
I would go. I would take the cameras and do interviews and stuff. That would be so much fun.
Well, you know what? I've been doing that.
Yeah.
I've got a bunch of interviews, and I've taken a bunch of footage, and I take some footage of the structures and some of the cliffs and people relating their experiences. For instance, Laurel relating her zapping experience. What do you got there?
I'll show you something cool.
So anyway, I'll have a cool little video coming up on the camp out.
That right there. It's a remote.
What is it?
It's a remote mic, right? It's a lapel mic.
Yeah.
You push this
Yeah.
little, put that little thing on your thing, right? But what's nice about it is there's two of them. This whole thing costs like, I think, $80. There's two of them.
Yeah.
So what's nice?
What are they for?
What's nice about that, huh?
What are they for?
So this is for recording, and this plugs into your camera, right? And this is the receiver.
Yeah.
So what that means is you could give them, you have the receivers on the camera, yeah, just plugs into the microphone jack on the camera, and you can give that to two different people. You give that to two different people, either yourself or another person, and then you have this little interview, and then your sound is nice, so that this person could walk away and look at a structure, and their voice would be right there. You see what I'm saying? And
oh wow, yeah, yeah.
It goes up to like 100 feet. So and so it's like killer for $80.
Show me that again. I want to get one of them. Does it have a windscreen on it too?
Yeah.
Little muffler.
Yeah. Here's
I thought I seen that.
This is the. Close this thing up. But it's this little.
Yeah. Oh, the little muffler. Yeah, a little muffler on it.
They go up to what do you call it? They go up to like. You can get the same kind of an idea for like $400 or $500, but this was.
Oh wow! You can, yeah.
Plenty of good.
You can have to send me. Send me that on my chat or whatever. What it is, the make and all that stuff, because I definitely want to get one of them. Because I had a great interview with, my girlfriend, or my fiance, I should say. She's more than my girlfriend, Sue. We were doing it at the Peace Arch. Where the Americans and Canadians can actually, it's a neutral ground, so we can actually go there and meet. And that's one blessing. There's always, you can always find some blessings in tragedy or whatever, and that's one thing that
it cuts out the car noise and it cuts out the wind, because you don't have to have it like right here, right? See, I could put it inside my coat right here, and there'd be no wind getting to it, right? So
yeah. Well, no, that was my point. I had a terrific interview with Sue there, and she was going over, and it's hard to get her to talk. She's very modest and
or if you do
whatever. But
sitting on a bench, right? You two are sitting on a bench. You just put the camera on a tripod, and you catch both of you talking on the bench.
Yeah.
Cool.
Well, that's what I did. I set the camera up on a tripod, and I set two chairs up, and we were just having like a casual conversation. And it was amazing. We were going over a lot of her experiences and shared experiences, and I was putting some insight into it, and she was, and it was freaking amazing. But the whole thing was ruined because of wind. It was unsalvageable. I tried. So where are you going?
I'll be right back.
So the whole thing was unsalvageable because of the wind, and that's a shame. But that thing looks like a good solution to that. So anyway, I guess we'll go to around 11 or so, because I got to get back and back to the camp, because a couple of the people, I think Laurel and maybe Gary, are leaving today, because Laurel has an appointment with Christina Schwind, who she's working with through the
Christina.
Through the so she's got a session with her, so she's going to be leaving. So Laurel's going to be leaving tonight around
Transcend or Ascend or something.
Ascend.
Ascend, yeah.
What?
Or Transcend. What is she learning how to do? Ascend.
I'm not going to disrespect Christina, or I'm going to get a serious spanking, man. That's one connected, powerful lady. I don't want to go up against her by saying silly stuff like that.
Kudos.
Well, hey, man, you got to give the kudos.
Of all the people out there, she's one of the ones that got it most tuned in.
Oh, definitely. I mean, I had you know what? I can't seem to bring up my groups or whatever, and I'm having a brain cramp because I can't remember the name. The Rise of the Multidimensional something. and she has like a dream pod course or something like that. And she also, and that's what Laurel's into, and she's just raving about it. And but I had just a private session with her, went on for a couple hours, and I recorded it on Zoom or whatever. And man, that lady was so spot on and in tune, like she's literally reading your mind, kind of thing. Like it's uncanny. So
there are people.
So anyway,
there are people out there. Once you open up the Zoom, I mean to the woo,
to the Zoom,
the Zoom room of woo. There you go.
We could call it Zoom because it's kind of like Zoom, like shooting off into a new consciousness reality. So maybe you hit something there, Beans. But anyway, my point is that I'm going to have to get back pretty quick because I don't want to miss saying goodbye to her and her brother Gary if he ends up going too.
I don't know what we're going to do about Saturday. You want to come back and set for Saturday or you want to reschedule it for another week?
I'm thinking. Well, it's probably going to be, it's the last day of the camp out. So, and I do have some people coming in that are only going to be there for Friday and Saturday, unless the weather scares them off. So maybe why don't we do it for next week? Because I'm going to have have a video coming up about the actual camp out. I got like all kinds of videos and conversations and stuff like that. So that
out there that you dump your videos into, or do you have to save them until?
I already came home. I came home on Tuesday, and I've already got them all lined up in my Filmora 9, the first set. Before I leave today, I'm going to put the other ones on there just to have them there, and then I'll tinker and play with it and do a little creative magic or whatever. So we're going to have that coming out, and then also, we've got this, which is never bad when we're just having.
That's another reason why those microphones are good, because if you have rain and stuff,
Yeah. So why don't we try to get him for I don't know, next Friday or Saturday, something like that, if that would work for him.
We'll work it out. We have another person next week, so.
Oh, who's that?
You're supposed to know these things.
Oh, wait a minute. I think I do know. Is it Don Nicholson?
I don't remember now. I'll have to.
Okay. Well, I'll tell you what. We've got somebody who wants to come on, so we'll bring that person on, and then we'll.
Yeah, bring it on.
I want to kind of wind it down at about 11, so we got another 20 minutes or so, or a half hour, whatever. So I'll bring Douglas Retzer on.
Yeah.
I'll bring him on, and
media.
We'll have a little chat here.
Events. Let's see the events. Okay. Yeah, Don Nicholson.
There he is. I see his face.
You're on the ball. It was Don, but you're Don, you said, was like a really good person and really kind of on the ball, right?
Yeah. It was cool because I was relating my.
If she's on Friday, October the 2nd, and you should be able to do Carl on Saturday if you wanted to. So, hi, Douglas.
Hello there. How are you, Brian?
Man? Look at you.
Hey, how you doing?
I like your hat. Your hat looks better than mine. Let's go down like that. Oh yeah, it's got a Sasquatch. You got a Sasquatch on your hat. That's cool.
I found that at the local truck stop here about 6 months ago.
And you got a pink shirt on.
Where are you from?
One of the cool guys wear pink shirts.
Thank you.
Yeah, you're sensitive, loving guys. You're manly enough to wear a pink shirt. Only a real man can wear a pink shirt.
We're secure.
You know what I mean? It's the guys. It's the guys who aren't secure and
they're not
with themselves.
Right.
They can't wear a pink shirt. But you notice I got a gray shirt on. So I guess that says something about me.
You're the big shot at the camp out. You're the boss of the camp out. So you have to wear a boss shirt.
Oh, okay. Okay.
Yeah, there you go.
Well, thanks for saying that. Hey, say something smart to Mr. Retzer while I go and check my laundry. Like I said, this is like my bath day and laundry. day.
Just be quiet and I'll talk to him.
I'll be back.
Tell your story, man. What's up? What's going on?
Hi, Mike.
Hey,
How are you, brother?
I'm doing good, man.
Oh,
You know, it's a victory out of
Hey,
chaos.
hey! I've got these Bluetooth things on.
Well, you can't leave
Who's
me
Mike?
interrupting and
It's Frank Oliver
Frank
Beans.
Oliver.
There's no Mike here.
Go away, please.
Frank Oliver Beans. There's nobody called Mike here. So anyway, carry on.
If I could turn him off, I would turn him off. Yeah. Okay, he's in charge.
Oh, well, somebody has to be. Nobody else wants to take responsibility.
Hey, wait a minute. If you could turn me on, you would too. But I mean, I'm not like that. You know, that's not the way I roll. Nothing wrong with it, mind you.
This is not the
So-
Brian Bland show, so shut up.
I'm going to check. No, it's not it's Port Cunningham, man.
Poor
Get with the
Cunningham,
program.
take your headphones off so you stop interrupting everybody. It's a nuisance.
Well, okay. See ya.
We get a guest on. We've been trying to get a guest on for 2 hours, and then your guest comes on and he keeps interrupting.
I had a long night last night. I just woke up about 1 o'clock.
What were you doing?
Me and my son, my youngest boy, 17, just got a place together. We're trying to get everything organized still. No fun. Been working on my truck. I'm going in 10 different directions daily. Just put a motor on my mountain bike so I can go up and visit this group, my favorite group, and I don't have to worry about taking my vehicle. I can just go off into the woods with her. Don't have to worry about anybody messing with. Yeah, it's beautiful. I love it. If I can get it away from my kid.
I was thinking if I was living near the woods, I'd get one of those electric mountain bikes.
Yeah.
You know, they go for like about 20, 25 or 30 miles, right?
Yeah.
That's enough to go pretty far up into the woods. You know what I mean?
It is.
Yeah.
Mine, I can go 35 miles on a tank of gas. So
Yeah.
that's pretty good for me. I only have to go about 6 miles to the friendly group. The ones I love to hang with the most, you know.
You got a family out there that's like taking care of you?
Oh, just me and my boy. My oldest moved out about 6 months ago.
No, I mean, I was meaning a family of Sasquatch people.
Oh, they're always taking care of me. They're watching out for me when I don't even know they're watching out for me. It's comical. I love them. Yeah. I introduced them to some folks I was staying with last year. They have berry bushes like you wouldn't believe. The whole 2 acres is covered. I told them one night, I just said, guys, you need to come get these. We're not picking them this year. Very next evening, all the dogs went nuts, come in the back door running. The tiniest one come with his tail between his legs. My dachshund and a beagle came in all happy, wanted me to go outside and see. I walked out, and there's Sing standing on the other side of the dog pen watching me. She came right over to me instantly. It was awesome.
That's a great story.
It was awesome. The next night, same time, 9:15, dogs come running in. I went out to see them, and I made a mistake. I turned my camera on my phone, walked outside, and as soon as the door closed, big fellow in the garage, he was in there, I don't know, visiting the cats, I guess. He had a little temper tantrum. Started kicking stuff and throwing stuff around the garage, and cats come running out, going in all directions. I turned my camera off, and I apologized. He immediately calmed down. You know, it's just like I said, I'm sorry. I didn't realize it was going to upset you so much. And he kind of got a little bit perturbed for a minute. He kicked another bucket. I could hear it come flying out of the garage. It's like, oh my. Speaking of dogs, animals, I have 4 of them. So, it was awesome. They hung out.
They're protecting your house, you know, making sure you're safe.
Hey guys. They hung around for 2 weeks. I think somebody's at my door. I got to take a quick break. I'll be right back.
All right, go ahead.
Hey, by the way, Beans, I was just nude. You couldn't see me on
Pants on, man.
camera, could you?
Before you get,
Did you see me with my pants off? I hope not.
Yeah, I did see you. It's your legs are all pasty, man.
You saw me like with just my undies on?
you have pasty Canadian legs.
Yeah. Well, and I've got English descent too, which is even worse because Englishmen have skinny legs.
And you got an Italian voice. That's why you got that
Well,
voice.
I'm part Sicilian and part English, right?
Yeah.
So I'm
How
screwed up on both
how
sides.
about in 5 countries? Look at
That's why I'm all messed up.
Quit waving your undies around. Who wants to see you wave your undies around, man? We all
Well, look,
come.
this is a pork and beans exclusive. I'm putting my laundry away right on the show. I mean, we're professional
Nobody wants to see your
outfit
underwear
here.
shaking like a flag. Underwear.
Hey, man, look.
Let me show you my
Hey, don't you
underwear.
remember? Don't you remember Tom Jones? He was getting all kinds of underwear and stuff thrown at him. You know, I'm putting out some hints. You know.
Throwing it at you.
I think those were panties, weren't they?
I'm talking about the phony Tom Jones, not the real one that we had on the show. The imposter Tom Jones, the not unusual guy. That one. You know. Anyway, carry on. I've got some work to do.
So those are great stories. I like the one with the bushes, the berry bushes, and and you just listen. We'll talk about woo. When you said, "Hey guys, come on over," you're just saying that to the air, right? But they still pick up on it, right?
Right, mind speak. I was
Yeah, you just say, "Hey, we're not gonna come on over and eat these berries." That's all you got to do, and they're like what 5 or 7 miles away, right?
13 miles from there.
13 miles, and they come the next night, or come that night.
That was the very next night. Yeah, I told them during the day. It was during the day. I said, guys, you guys got to come get these. You know, we're not going to pick them this year. There's probably 8 bushels there, at least. You know, between all the different kinds. Blueberries, blackberries, raspberries, elderberries, 4 different kinds of berries.
Look at these ones. Oh, sorry. Go ahead. Well, I'm not. Oh, boy, I had a dirty joke. Can I say that? Can I get a little bit? This is what I keep my. This is what I keep my. This is what I keep my berries in. See, tartan shorts. You see that? Tartan.
Can you just mute your microphone, please? You're not adding anything. You're subtracting. Mute your microphone. We're talking about important, sensitive, heartfelt stuff about the Sasquatch, and you're throwing panties in the air.
In case I have, but I might actually say something that makes sense in a minute, so I'll keep it on, but I'll try to shut up unless I can't.
No chance. Just mute your microphone, and then if you're going to say something intelligent, put it back on.
Okay, all right. I'll deprive all our pork and beans aficionados of my
just
magical wit.
Have a nice guest, and you keep talking.
Okay, I'll do it. I'll do it just for you, Beans.
Ask him a question.
Only for you.
Got some great stories.
No. You ask him a question. I'm working.
Mute your microphone.
Okay, I'm gonna mute.
Okay, you mute Douglas's. You mute Douglas's microphone. You muted the wrong. What kind of a show host are you? He can't even talk now. You muted his. Open up his microphone and mute your microphone, moron.
All right, I'm back.
Okay, there he is. There he's back. He's back. Okay.
Yeah, okay, that's good. That's perfect. Now we can have a nice show because people really want to hear what Douglas has to say. Go ahead, bro.
Yeah, I'd love to answer any questions. I've had so many interactions with them over the last 6 years. I lost count.
What was the most fun one?
Oh my. It'd have to be when I met Sings. Sings? Yeah, that's the closest pronunciation. We can't really speak. S-I-N-Z. S-I-N-G-Z. I'm sorry.
Sings, right.
Like sings?
Yeah, like sings a song.
It's really high pitched though. It's really said high pitched and very fast. You know, they say it in about a fraction of a second. You know, we just can't understand their language when they speak that fast. It almost sounds like electricity in the air. yeah, you know what I mean? Did you ever hear that?
What part of
You
the
ever heard
country are
that?
you in?
I'm in Northwest Pennsylvania.
Okay.
Yeah, Venango County.
A lot of stuff going on up there.
Oh yeah, yeah. We have a couple thousand up here in Venango County alone. You know,
Yeah.
they're everywhere. They're everywhere.
So
I asked
tell us what happened when you met Zings.
Sings.
Zings.
Well, it was November 10th, 2014. You know, exactly. I remember this because it was raining, about probably 35 degrees out. Me and about 6 of my close knucklehead friends that didn't mind the cold rain, you know, we're out there watching, interacting with them because they kept coming out to us every night. We'd be there 5, 10 minutes or 15 minutes. They'd be out running the road around us, visiting and then moving on. They'd hang out for 2 or 3 hours every night. Well, it was raining and we were all shivering. Finally, I just kept asking one of them to come share their body heat with me. And I asked this like 3 times. I said, "Why don't you please come down and just share your body? We're shivering and cold." And we were soaked through. It was like the 3rd time I asked, here she come waddling down the road. It was so cute to see her, like arms out to the side. She was 5 feet tall. She hasn't grown an inch since I met her. You know, she ran right up to me. I was like, oh, wow. I just put my head back, tightened my arms, and closed my eyes. She stood beside me for like about a second. I could feel her body heat enter me from the left, to go right through me to the core. And then I opened my eyes, feeling just so warm. She looks up at me. Her eyes they're huge. They're like about probably 18 inches apart on top of her head. Her head looks like a giant football, I swear. It's just a football. It reminds me of that cartoon character on TV with the football heads.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, it reminded me of that, almost identical, except for her eyes are set on top of her head. I've never seen her blink once. You know, when she comes in the physical, you know, she's beautiful. You know, she was, I think, pregnant at the time because she was really round. Now she's slender, and now I got a young guy about probably 4 years old. He comes out and shakes tree limbs at me once in a while, and I got pictures of his track for my profile picture on
So
Facebook.
she actually came up to you in the physical. It wasn't
Yes,
invisible. It was in the
yes,
physical. How
yes.
sweet is that? 5 feet tall. That's amazing.
Oh, we exchanged hugs before it was over with, you know, but neither one of us had the nerve to make physical contact. So we gave each other an air hug. We kept about an inch distance between us, but we did. We wrapped our arms around each other. She took off back up the road, and I turned around and looked at all my friends. They're standing with their mouths hanging down wide open, not believing what they'd just seen. I turned
That was
around.
an amazing.
I turned around, and she came back down the road to me and stopped about 12 feet from me. I was facing her, and I went to walk towards her. And as soon as I walked toward her a step, she was gone back up the road again. I'm like, okay. And then she come right back down and stopped again, right across from me, 12 feet away. I went to walk towards her again, and I got halfway through my steps. She started to move. She came all the way to me, turned around, went back to where she started from, came to me again, and went back and turned around and faced me before my foot set down one step. She was facing me, and she had made the trip between us twice.
So she's giving you a little teaching. This is the way to do it. You didn't do it right.
Yeah.
We'll get it. I'll keep going back and forth till you get it right.
I went, wow. And she mimicked me and caught me and goes, wow, right back, you know, with her arms out. It was so cute. Yeah, it was awesome. And we've been best friends ever since. And we gradually worked close, and that's when we did the air hug. You know, we've been best friends ever since. Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah.
That is a great story. And what's interesting is it's unusual and that you don't really hear too much about the 5-foot Sasquatch, but there's supposed to be a whole race of short Sasquatch, a whole race of them that people don't really know too much about, but they're the ones that are reported on the craft, 5 feet and under, and they're on the spacecraft. So, you know, that's kind of cool.
That is cool.
Hey,
And
Beans.
I've seen.
I'm interrupting. We're having she's telling a story.
Oh, okay. I was going to say we've got to quit having the quality of guests on like this, man. You know, we're the stars of the show. We got to shine. This guy's putting us to shame. We don't like any rivals. No, I'm just joking. Of course, I'm joking.
The most heartfelt story I've ever heard in the history of Sasquatch, and he comes in and interrupts you. You can't do that. You have to be sensitive. Be a sensitive, Canadian guy.
Well, I thought the whole premise of our show was to, all about us.
No,
No, it's
that's your
not.
aggrandized reality, but that's not really what's going on.
Oh, okay. Oh, okay. Well, I'm going to put it on mute again and get
And
back
this
to
is
my
where
work then.
this is
So
why
carry on.
we have a hard time of collecting guests because
How
they
long
want
have
to
you guys?
speak.
But I want some low quality guests that we can like talk over and like shame them and with their, whatever. These people are just they're too in tune for us. I mean, they're
But
rivaling
get the
our
message, Frank.
experiences.
There's nobody that is lower quality than us. Nobody. We're already at the bottom, so everybody is going to be above us, and they need respect to be listened to.
Oh, so the pursuit is fruitless.
Fruitless. Just listen.
Okay, I'm going to turn my mic
It is
off
better
again.
Good.
to receive than it is to give.
Oh,
There
you
you
guys
go.
have good tears. I haven't tried filming them in so long. I haven't really cared about filming them, ever since that time. Well, last year when I got yelled at for trying to take a few pictures, it's like I never cared before. I think that's why I became so close. My buddy Ken.
Well, your story needs to be out there. I'm really glad you came on today because the people need to hear, first of all, about the short ones, and second of all, about these wonderful adventures you've had. I
Oh,
mean, that's
I
good stuff.
I can go on for hours and just keep going. I've introduced so many young people to this area to them that never had a clue they were here, and now they see me coming, they get all wide-eyed, and it's like I love it. And I camped out about 5 months total with 3 different groups. This was like 4 years ago over the summer. And I
Camp out groups.
well, I camped by myself with one group for
Oh,
two
so
and a half
you're talking
months.
about groups of the forest people.
Right? Yeah.
Yeah.
I camped at one group about 100 yards away for 2.5 months. And then I moved to another group. I was there about 2.5 weeks. Then I went to the final group. I was there 2 months, a little over 2 months.
Wow, that's like a quarter of a year.
Yeah, I loved it. I would still be there, but I got rained out so bad. It started raining. It rained for like 4 days. And after 4 days, I was done. I just couldn't sit in my tent any longer or my vehicle. I was soaked constantly. It was bad. It was enough, to get me out of the weather for a while. So,
Well, what a great, I don't know what you call it, I guess experiencer, friend or something. Let me ask you, David, this is obvious, but this is for the other people. Do you feel that they are more family or that they're just friends, just somebody you know?
they're like family.
Gets
They're
right,
closer.
it goes right to family, doesn't it?
Yeah, they're closer than most of my family. So, except for
Yeah.
my boys, yeah, they're closer. They're just, man, they love me to death, and I just say, they know I pray for them to find enough food for the young ones. When I'm out there, when I'm actually physically there, I'll tell them, it's like, I'm praying for your young ones. I hope they all grow up to be as big and strong as you all. And it's like, I did this every night before I would leave to let them know that I was thinking about them and caring about them. And one night I told them this, and all of a sudden it's just like this fog came in, and I had 20 youngsters out there right outside my truck, standing on the road beside my vehicle, just to
Wow.
say goodbye. Yeah, they were just spread out all over, all like about 3.5 feet tall. It just blew me away. It brought tears to my eyes. Just showing how much.
That's amazing. Yeah, I've been talking to other groups about how the 5 foot variety. Here's what it is. There was a research study done on ET contact, and they had all the list of they asked 600 questions, but one of the questions was what kind of beings did you see on the craft? And the first one was the light beings. There's both light as a ball or light or beings that are just emanating light.
The
That was
orb.
the first. That was the first one. Then the second one was humans and different varieties of humans, tall and right. And then it
Yeah.
went on down to a few others, down to the grays and that. But I think it was like the fifth or sixth one was it said that 17% of the people who are awake and aware on the craft saw small, hairy human types, which are the ones you're friends of.
Wow.
And then that's 17%, and then 14% saw the tall, hairy human types. Okay, so
Yeah.
you put those two together, that's almost 30% of the people who go on craft and they're awake, you know, they're not like in a dream state, they're awake. They see Sasquatch there is hanging out or being a crew or something. How
That's
cool
amazing.
is that?
That is awesome.
So
That is
not only are they forest kings, but they're also cosmic kings too. They're out there. They got their own fleets of aircraft.
Seeing them just gives me so much hope for our world. You know, it
Yeah.
really does. It really does. You know,
That's a great quote. Seeing them gives me so much hope for the world. What a great quote.
Thank you. I feel that in my heart. It just
That's a teaching they gave you.
yeah. They do.
And then I come on and make a comment, and all hope is lost.
You guys crack me up.
You see, this is my problem, Beans. We got to get some crappy guests on once in a while, so that we can actually make ourselves look good. You know, build up our ego. With all these amazing people are coming on, and it's not working for me.
I'd like to come visit you guys one of these summers out the West Coast. I really would. I'd love to come out.
Well, I'll tell you what. I host a camp out. It's going to be every year, and it was supposed to be a bigger one this year,
Making it about him now.
Yeah.
But
Yeah.
but you know, with the COVID thing and all that madness or whatever, we couldn't have everybody up that we wanted. But you know, you want to come up next year, you're more than welcome.
Yeah, I'll try to. My youngest, he graduates next year, and he'll be 18 here pretty soon, so he can watch himself, you know, take care of himself. If I can take a week off and leave. So
I'm down in Georgia. I'm down in Georgia. I could probably swing a drive up to Pennsylvania.
Oh yeah,
that far.
Yeah, that's not too far. Yeah, yeah. Come up and do some camping with me a little bit, maybe.
Yeah.
If not, you can stay at my place.
You owe me first, Beans. I've been trying to get you up here forever. You go somewhere else first. I'm dumping you.
$4,000 to get there. You know, it's like $2,000.
Oh, I don't care. I don't have to pay for it. I don't care.
On the other side of the country.
Just make it work. Yeah.
Plus, there's no car rentals. You'd have to rent a car from Chicago to drive the rest of the way.
That'd be a ride.
Really?
Excuse me. I got
you have
dogs.
to rent a car in Montreal and drive the rest of the way.
Well, I've got an idea. We're gonna have to have Douglas Retzer on for a full show.
I wish. Yeah, that'd be great.
Would you like to do that, Doug?
When do you guys start this?
We're at
when did we start the show?
17 or 18 shows.
When did you start doing shows?
Well, it's debatable if we even have a show. So we have to verify that we actually, have a show before we can say when we started it. I don't know what we're doing here. Tell you,
Yeah.
Mute your mic, Brian. Mute your mic. Mute it. And I'll take over.
When I saw my message today and it showed the Zoom link and everything for your show, I'm like, wait a minute. When did they start this?
You're from the Spiritual SASQUATCH group, right?
The Spiritual SASQUATCH group?
Yeah, that's one of the ones you're in.
I think I'm in that group. I was in like 40 different groups, and I just have so little time to get in and chat and type. It's hard, you know.
Well, Brian started that group, and this is an offshoot of that group, actually. So I usually don't send out invites, but today we didn't have our guest backed out for family problems, so I sent them invites into that group, and that's how you got hooked up. But I'm glad you did, because I feel that there's so many people out there having family connections, spiritual connections, cosmic connections. I mean, all that.
I can go on and on with stories. I lost a camera up there last year. Oh, that was funny. That's a great story in itself. I sat out on the Explorer. I was driving up there and was sitting on the roof, and Buddy came up with his girlfriend. They visited. We were there 3-4 hours. I had my camera. Never seen one, that would come out to us in the daytime, so my camera would actually work, I had it sitting on the roof. I figured, well, if they come up and say I see a bunch of orbs, I might be able to get pictures of them. So I'm sitting there. 10 o'clock come around. It was getting so dark. My friends had to head home. I got down off the top of the Explorer. And I figured, I might as well go. It's a quiet night. They're probably down at the creek feeding. Didn't see too many, maybe 15 or so. That's a bad night for me,
You mean you saw 15 Sasquatch buddies?
Yeah. the first night I took this couple out there, we saw 24. The second night we counted like 55, 60, between 55 and 60. You know, they took to this couple just right off. They loved them both, which that's surprising because they don't usually take to people that fast. But she's disabled, and I think they understand her. You know, they take a lot of pity on people that have issues. They really do. You know, people that are hurt.
Well, they'd love me then.
Yeah, I
They'd love
guess
me.
why
I got
we
a
all
lot of
do
issues.
so good. That's probably why we all do so good. You know, we have a lot of issues. But they do, man. They have feelings, you know. They care about you, you know. They do. I've seen them cheer people
Well,
on.
thanks. Now I know why they connected with me. I've got like, that's my whole thing, issues, unresolved issues.
Life's hard anymore for people. It's not like it used to be. It used to be so simplistic. Now I feel
Yeah.
sorry for my kids, man. I do. I don't think I'd want to grow up in a world that's like today, you know, and start all over. I
How
grew up
many,
in the
how
60s and
many
I
of your
loved it.
kids, how many of your own children are into Sasquatching?
Well, I've taken them both out. You know, they're not into it like me at all. Patrick, he had a girlfriend, so he sat in the truck the whole time. So they kept throwing, I don't know what they were, little acorns or something. And they're 75 yards away throwing these things, and they're bouncing them off the roof of my truck about every 15, 20 seconds. My boy's sitting there texting his girlfriend, and he's just like, wait a minute. He kept looking up, you know, trying to figure out what was going on. I'm laughing. I'm walking in and out of the woods listening to him come down and bounce. And he keeps looking, you know, trying to figure out what's falling on the truck. Because there's nothing, no trees over the truck at all. You know, they're coming from the side. I says, Pat, we're trying to get your attention. And he looks again. And he, oh, yeah, right. He waves his arm. Next thing you know, another one comes in and hits right on top of it, right over his head. And then another one, and then another one. And he just looks at me. I said, I told you, you might as well get out. They're not going to leave you alone. So he ended up getting out of the truck and walking back in. I was doing some castings of the little guy, my little buddy, I call him. He's like about probably 4 feet tall now. I'd say he's pushing almost 6 years old. He's my little buddy. What can I say? He'll come up, he'll hang on a branch and shake it at me to get my attention. He does this ever since I told him. Like I said, guys, I'm a little thick sometimes. It takes a lot to get my attention. So if you're there doing little subtle things, you're gonna have to do a little bit more than that. Maybe slap me on the side of the head occasionally. And it wasn't more than 2 minutes later, I see this branch 25 feet up a tree, 50 feet away, just going back and forth, shaking. There's no wind, no breeze, you know. So I walk about half. Yeah, I walk halfway up to it, and I'm looking at this branch shaking. I said, "You trying to get my attention?" He swings around the backside of the tree, hanging underneath it onto this limb now, and he shakes it twice as hard. So he just starts shaking it like crazy. I lost it. I just started laughing.
Can
It
you
was
tell tell the people a little bit, or for the recording for future, what they look like? That, you know, are they kind of humanoid looking? Are they? You said it had like a football helmet, but they all didn't have like a sideways football look
oh
to
no,
them.
no, she's the only one I've ever seen that looks like that at all. She's the only one. The rest of them, they're all different. I've seen almost human-like heads, faces, you know, almost totally human, you know, and bald and, you know, old, you know, you can tell they're very old, but their whole body is just from the neck down, they're as muscular as can be. They're muscle bound. And then you'll see the average ones, you know, like they say on TV, they refer, I don't know, they compare them to like chimps, you know, and chimpanzee types. I've seen so many that look like that, but you know, I don't know. They remind me of a man that used to box a lot. You ever see like a you look like you do a little boxing. You get that pushed down in front of your nose a little bit there. Do you ever box? No, I mean not so much, but they got that punched in nose, almost like they get been fighting and boxing all their lives. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
You know, a lot like that. Some the little ones, you know, young ones, their hair, all the ones I've ever seen have real short hair. You know, under an inch or under, you know, when they're little. I've seen that until they get probably 5'10", almost 6 feet, and then it seems like the hair starts growing longer on them.
Do you have any tall varieties out there? The 10, 11, 12 kind?
Oh yes, many. 12 to 14 foot. Yes.
So you got a smorgasbord going on there. You got
Yeah.
the whole line.
The dogman types, they all
No
come
kidding.
together. Yeah, yeah. They all come
Are,
together.
are they the dogman type Sasquatch or the actual dogman?
They look just like the dogman. Pointed
Okay.
ears, snout,
Yeah.
the whole words, the whole 9 yards.
Okay.
They come right up to
I like dogman myself. How's your relationship with the dogman?
great, great. He looks like he's kind of like I'm a pain in his butt sometimes. He'll look down at me. It was funny. The couple I took out that they really, connected with, he come out and if he stood straight up and and straightened his back up, he'd be 14 feet. But he walks,
Wow.
he's hunched over. He's 12 feet, every bit of 12 feet hunched over. And
Wow.
he looked down at us, and I said, "Oh my!" I said, "You see the size of those jaws? If he opened his mouth wide, he could bite our heads off in one bite." I said, and I'm laughing, saying this to my friends, and they're like, "Wow, yeah, he could." He looked down after closing his mouth. He looked down at us like, "Yeah," and you could see the chuckle in his expression. He actually got a kick out of that. And then he looked, he said his goodbyes in his way. He didn't speak, but he just went up through the woods. It was so graceful. It's amazing how fast they move and how agile they are. They can cover 100 yards in the blink of an eye, and you never hear a twig snap if they didn't want you to.
Wow. So you're just such a treat to have on. Let me ask you. I got a lot of questions. You ever seen them go in different kinds of invisibility, like a shadow kind or shimmering or?
Yes. Oh,
Yeah.
yes. Oh, yeah, in all states. The orbs, I mean, I've had them come down in orbs, and then you'll see their heads in the orbs, their faces. And then they'll materialize into the physical, hang out a while, and then they'll either walk off in the physical, or they'll go back into their orbs, and they'll float up through the trees, just gone.
Wow.
It's amazing.
Wow.
Or else you'll see like a big blob of light, bluish white light. It's like bending together. It's like a cloud waving. It's like there's no definition. It's just all over the place. And then all of a sudden you'll see their silhouette in the whole pillar of light. You'll see them from head to toe.
Wow. You got the whole circus. You got the whole rodeo. You got it all.
Yeah. And I've seen bigger than them too, but I don't want to go into that right now. It's just people are gonna say he's like, yeah, he's a little bit loose, but I've seen him bigger.
Well, the reason why for me personally, why I started the Pork and Bean Show is because once you're an experiencer, like
Excuse me?
once you're
Hey, I heard that.
the reason
You
why
started the Pork and Bean
I
Show?
started the Pork and Bean Show is because for people like you, that if you're so involved in that experience, you're not out to like going out to public and waving a banner, right? So
Yeah.
all these people who are having real experiences, they're at home having fun, and maybe they talk among themselves, but nobody's really out there saying, look, this 12-foot guy there and the dog man over there and a 5-foot over here. They're not saying that. Nobody's saying that. You know what I'm saying? So this is just great, in my opinion, to have another slice of the pie, which I think is the real deal.
I don't like bragging about them, and they want their privacy too, and I have to respect that. They want to be left alone for the most part. They don't want to be bothered. I understand that. So many people that they have issues with, they come in, they'll trash their home, leave garbage everywhere, and they're pranksters, and they like to, every now and then, they like to have their fun, which gets me laughing because I've seen it so many times. People that say, "Oh, I don't believe in them," I'll take out there, and they'll immediately say, "Well, it's okay. We don't believe in him either," and then they get a laugh out of it, and they'll start messing with them. They'll stand right beside them or behind them, out of their way, just out of their vision, and materialize. And then as soon as they turn around to look at them, they're gone. And they're just making fun of them. It's like it gives them a laugh. They have a sense of humor that, like, I can't think of his name now. Steve Abney. He said in order to be accepted, by their clans, they have to touch a human to gain the respect of the rest of their clans. They have to physically touch one. I was going out of the woods at my number one group, my first group I ever discovered. And that thought went through my head. It's like, yeah, they have to touch somebody to physically be accepted by their clan. As soon as that thought went through my head, one of them grabbed my roll on the side and just squeezed. And I just lost it. I'm the only one. Thank God I was the only one in the woods that day in that area. I just started laughing hysterically because the way he grabbed my roll and just squeezed and shook it, he was making fun of me. But I laughed for 5 minutes solid. I could not stop laughing. It was so funny.
You got a little dose of bliss with that, you know.
I did.
You got a little love zap. It's the people who are doing the researchers, they don't understand that love zap. You get close and they're in a good mood. You get like you're just like this whole rush of love and happiness. And
it does. It just makes you feel so good inside. There's no describing it. You have to feel this to understand it. You can tell people, but unless they feel it, they can never comprehend.
Well, I hate to do this to you, Douglas, but I have to step out for a minute, so I'm going to turn you over. I'm going to sacrifice you to Brian. So I hope.
Wait a minute. I'm taking.
Stay strong and centered, and always remember the Sasquatch loves you.
I'm taking umbrance. Right. I'm taking umbrance. Before you leave, I'm taking umbrance with what you said. You said you started the Pork and Bean Show. Like you're trying to, every week you're trying to ease me out a little more and more and more until finally it'll just be the Frank Oliver Bean Show with, say he doesn't want to listen to the cold hard truth.
I need to get you guys a schedule.
Well, yeah, well, we can do shows on Thursdays, Fridays, or Saturdays. And where are you again? Where are you located?
Northwest Pennsylvania.
Okay, so what time is it there now?
It is 2:17. It looks like.
Okay, so you're 3 hours ahead of us. Yeah. Okay, yeah. So you're 3 hours ahead of us. So you're in the same time zone as Mr. Beans. So we usually start the show at 9 o'clock or 12 o'clock your time. 12 o'clock in the afternoon your time. So if you can come on a Thursday or a Friday or a Saturday, we'll get you on for sure. Absolutely. Awesome. Just let us know. We're friends, right? We're friends on Facebook, aren't we?
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah. Just message me and tell me what works for you, and as long as we don't have somebody lined up, we'll get you on. But so I wanted to ask you something. How about glyphs and structures? Does your clan do a lot of those? Do they do them?
Depending on which area. Yeah. Oh, yeah. Not so much of the glyphs occasionally. I've had somebody present gifts from them. I have a walking stick. It's my pride and joy. About 3 years ago, they gave me, of all things, they gave me a Bigfoot bottle opener.
Yeah. So the reason I asked you about the reason I'm asking you about the glyphs is because with me, I've had a really, like they put me through school, like kindergarten, grade 1, 2, 3, and a lot of it was through glyphs, so that I could actually learn to read the glyphs, understand the language in a lot of them. So, but it's interesting because all the different clans seem to do different things or whatever. And they're all a little different, and they all react to people differently sometimes too. Like my guys are very familiar with people. Yeah, but it's basically, I've always said, the ones that people who have bad interactions with them or whatever, they are people, so they're all individuals. They all have their own personalities and whatever. But I still say, if you approach them with love and respect, you're gonna get a good result. So.
Absolutely. It's true.
Yeah.
They are very tolerant of us. Very tolerant. They put up with a lot. They do. And I understand quite a bit more than I used to. And I think it's a lot, the glyphs and such, you expect the glyphs, so they give those to you. It's what you expect in your mind they're going to, fulfill. It's like, what are you thinking that you want for a connection? And they'll do that, so. They know what you're thinking.
Well,
so they're gonna
Oh, of course. It's just another teaching tool, and I mean, they started with the glyphs for me right from day one, and it was an intense education. So they also will teach people according to their strengths. You know, if you're a hands-on person, they'll teach you in a hands-on way. If you're whatever. So that's the beautiful thing about it, is because everybody's experiences are a little different. There's a lot of commonalities where people are connected, but there's always something individual and different and unique about that person. So in relationship to the teaching and how they relate to them or whatever. So yeah.
Absolutely. They get a bond with everybody they do make connections with. They can form a bond in one way or another.
Yeah. So, you know, I've seen your name on my friends list, and I don't think we've talked much. Maybe we have. I'm sure we've talked a couple of times, but it's nice to put a face. Yeah, it's nice to put a face to the name. Yeah.
Yeah, I know. I don't have.
So
I don't have a face on my profile picture on Facebook. It's like I figured nobody wants to look at that mug. You know, here I'll give you something cute to look at. You know,
do you think you could convince Mr. Beans to take his face off his profile too? It's not something I really like looking at. He seems to have it blasted all over the place. You know, it's quite alarming.
We're all getting up there here, are we? I feel it.
Well, yeah, but when he takes off and goes and has a cigarette when he's weak and he succumbs to his addictions, that's when I slam him and stuff, and then he comes back and he hears it and he gets awful mad and stuff, and you know, so poor guy.
You gotta make fun of your friends. You know, you can make fun of your friend. They'll tolerate you. You know, they'll listen. They'll take it. You know, you're good friends with.
He's a sensitive kind of guy. You know, so you got to tread lightly with him. But so when he comes. Yeah.
I've had so many
Well, we're gonna have
come through my area, and I've just turned them around in one trip out in the woods. Now they're knowers, and I've had people say they believe me. I'm taken out, and then when they come out and they see them, they've gone into shock, and I've had to calm them down because you know they didn't really believe me. They just were humoring me, you know, and it's. If you're not prepared for what you see, sometimes it gets to be a little much for you. You know, some people.
Well, look, I mean, people like you and me have got a really strong connection with them or whatever. It still feels, to me, magical and supernatural. And every time you see them or do you hear them talking or singing or whatever they do, it always seems like you're almost meet them in a halfway another dimension or something. It feels very supernatural. So imagine what it would be like with people who don't even want to consider it. I mean, some of them will never come back again. Some people just are scared they won't come back again. But some, you know.
I had 2 scary experiences in '91 that kept me out of the woods for 20 years. You know, it's like, I thought they had something out for me. You know, it's like, man, they have my number. It's like, what did I ever do to them? You know, I just had 2 bad experiences back to back, 3 weeks apart. Went out in the woods 2 times fishing. I did a lot of native fishing, you know, all these hills and mountains and there's all kinds of native springs. And I get back in the woods, I'll get 10 miles sometimes, you know, in the woods, in the national parks, fishing native springs. And it's a wake-up call, you know, the first time when you really, really do encounter them and don't expect them. I mean, it's like it's a shock to you. I can tell you a story.
Well, you know, I'm very blessed in the sense that I've never, ever had what I would call a bad experience with them, but I think that's because that they actually called me to the woods.
Yeah.
I had Mindspeak say, go to the woods, and I'd never had anything like that before, but it's so obvious and it's so different that I knew it was real.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
And then then once I got to the woods, then they started connecting me with people that they wanted me to connect with so I could further my journey. And now today, they're connecting me with people who I can maybe enhance their journey. Like for instance, I was telling Mr. Beans, I went and bought some rocks or something for the guests that came out to my camp out, which I have to get back to in a minute, just as a thank you for showing up. And I walked in the store and talking to the lady, and I said, well, you wouldn't believe what I want them for. And I said, yeah, it's a Sasquatch gathering. And she said, I've got a connection with Sasquatch. You know,
really?
that's no coincidence. And then she started proceeding to tell me that she's seen them walking through her backyard and going completely invisible. And so there's no coincidence. They're constantly connecting us with people. Constantly connecting us with people. You know, another
I
time
love
I went
that.
to the wood. I got a call to the woods. I had just had that feeling I had to go, and I'm just going to say all
Yeah,
these briefly.
I know.
And so I and I went there, and there was a security guard at the gate of where my woods is, and there was a movie being shot in there, so he was just guarding the gate. And I was playing my native drum, and I said, "I'll come back and talk to you later." And when I did talk to him, I was getting all this confirmation energy, loving energy that they approved of me talking to him, which is very, very common. And it, you know, and I was also called to the woods. And so while I was there, I'm talking to him or whatever. And he said, you know, what's funny? Because about a half an hour before you came, which is right when I was getting the call to go, he said, I heard something big stomping around in the woods. And he'd never experienced anything like that before. But he had heard one walking in the bush, just as I was getting the energy to come. And then when we're talking, um, he could hear them walking around us. My hearing's not good, so I couldn't hear that. But he said I can hear him walking around us, and then I said, I'm gonna. Oh, and yeah, and we saw some other stuff, some really amazing stuff, but it was no coincidence. And then I said, well, you know, say hi to them, introduce yourself, say hi, I'm so and so, and I would like to meet you. And so I came back the next day because he was doing another shift, and I checked in with him and said, so how did it go? And he said, the entire night when he was sitting in his car, he felt a presence sitting beside him that had a sweet floral perfumey fragrance. And that's my female that I know in the clan, Raja Say. She was sitting beside him the whole night, and she made him feel calm, peaceful, loving, connected, all those beautiful things that they do. And so, you know, that's an invitation to him. Where you gonna take it?
Awesome.
And he even said that, yeah, and he even said that he felt that for quite a while on his way home. So they're constantly connecting us with people.
They like you. They like you. You know, and I think some of the people that have had bad experiences, they
What?
they
Excuse me.
know.
Did you say they like me, or did you say me specifically? You mean?
Oh, I'm just talking in general. You know, in general, when they
Oh, okay.
like
In
you,
general, right? That's what I thought. Yeah.
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, when they like you, you know, you can't help but feel that. You know, and they've taken the people that they don't like, and it's just the opposite. They've messed with them.
Yeah.
I could picture people that have had bad experiences probably got something that they don't like about them that you know they know.
Yeah.
If you think about
Yeah.
something you know that you've done in your life to maybe somebody or something, they know it. If you think about it, they know it. So
Yeah.
they know you better
Yeah.
than you know yourself, you know. And I've
Oh, yeah.
told people that,
Well,
you know,
Stop saying
some
yeah.
people,
they've taught they've got no time does not exist in the 3D linear understanding
yes,
that we humans have. Like, I
you
mean,
know,
they can do something in the future that they already know you're going to
yeah,
come walk into and discover, and that's so they have a big advantage that way, teaching wise, right?
right, that's right.
Yeah,
That's absolutely right.
yeah. So,
Yeah,
so anyway, when Mr. Beans comes back, I've got to get back to the
I'm
capo
sorry I
because I
left
have
you
to say
alone there
goodbye to
with
some people that are.
sorry I left you alone there with Brian. You know, you're no match for
That
him.
was the best part of the show. That was the best part of the show.
Because you talked all the time. You
When
gave us the
you
best.
It was the best part of the show, just the last 5 minutes. You know, it's the only part that made any sense to me.
My initials are FOB, which means full of beans. Frank Oliver Beans. But today I'm eating bologna, so that means I'm also full of
you're
bologna.
full of baloney today. Full of
Yeah.
baloney a lot.
So guys, I got to get back. So should we invite? Well, we're going to invite Douglas. I've given him some dates or days. We'll invite him back on the show. And can we wrap it up, or do you want to continue, Beans? I can give you the moderator thing, and you can stop it if you want, or should we just wrap it up and get
I
Douglas
got
back?
a few things I got to do. Why don't we set a date up near future and we'll hang
Okay.
out.
You message me on
All right.
Messenger. We'll arrange a date and we'll have you on, and we'll go 2-3 hours, whatever it takes. Even though Mr. Bean's attention span is only
Join
5
the Frank and
minutes,
Bean show.
we're
Join the Frank and Bean show.
see he can't see he doesn't even know the name of the show. Any way that he can ease me out of the show and make himself look like the star
Brian
is,
and Bean
that's your
show.
only objective.
Any day's fine. So I'll start checking with you.
Oh, are you Are you retired?
Me, yes, I'm disabled. I got hurt a few years back.
Okay, well then we'll do it on maybe a Friday or a
Yeah,
Saturday or something, or even a
I do
Thursday.
have free time.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah, it's just
Okay. I'll tell you what I'll do then. I'll send you a message on Messenger, and I'll give you a couple dates, and you can pick which one feels
Sounds
right for
good.
you. Sounds good, my
Sounds
friend.
great.
And really nice to see your face and put a face to the name, because I know I've known your name for quite a while, and you know, it wasn't nice to put a face to Frank Oliver Beans' name, but you know, you can't. It's not a perfect world, right? But wait till he gets back on and hears how we were slamming him when he was
I
gone.
think it's a great
Nope.
world.
Frank Oliver Baloney.
Hey, Frank, I was just absolutely slamming you when you were gone. I was almost embarrassed with how I was talking about you. It was almost too much. But that's okay, Doug.
Yeah.
Love you, man, and
Good, brother.
thanks for your connection with Sasquatch and what you're doing. And you know, we've all got a purpose for them with
Yeah,
them.
absolutely
We're
do.
working. They're working through us, and you know, to introduce people to who they are and stuff, and to who
Like
we
to-
are, and to who we
I'd like
are.
to end on a note.
Yeah.
Anybody that has an open heart in mind can make contact with them. It's all in your mind. Think
Yes.
about it in your heart.
Yes.
They'll know what you're thinking.
Yes. And
Believe me, if you're out in the woods
yes.
and they're around, they know your thoughts. They will be listening to you.
Yeah.
So.
But you cannot be living in that box of beliefs and whatever, because they're going to challenge you to go outside of that box. So if you're not willing to accept new realities or the woo or whatever, you've got a big impediment for learning. So, but yeah, I agree with.
You're gonna have a few
I agree with
shocks.
everything you
Give
said,
you
man.
20 years to settle down. You know, you take 20 years off, we'll catch you later.
Right.
I tell you.
Okay, guys. So, like I said, I have a couple people that are leaving the camp today, so I have to get back and say goodbye to them. So how about we end it, and we'll arrange a date with Doug. You know, this was actually a pretty good show for mayhem and chaos and unorganized, and a couple good things said, right?
I had to download Zoom when I got the invite, so it took me a couple minutes to get on, but I didn't see it for about a half hour, 45 minutes after you sent it. So
I'm glad you did.
Yeah, I'm glad you're going to come on, and pleasure talking to you. You know, all fun aside. I don't
Put your pants on before you go to the get in the car.
Well, I'll put them on. I'll put them on as I'm going there.
It's definitely increased my heart. It's definitely increased my heart.
Yeah, I don't really like to be serious, but in all seriousness, it's nice to have you, and it's going to be great when you come back and we can delve into your story and your experiences a bit more. So how about we say goodbye, guys, and from the Pork and Beans Show, I'm Pork Cunningham, and geez, what are you doing that again for? What are you?
I'm Frank Oliver Beans, and this is my co-host.
Cohort. Cohort.
Yeah.
This is my cohort.
Cohort and crime.
Anyway, you know. Anyway, I'm not even going to do the proper ending now, because I'm going to give Frank Oliver Beans his kudos. So, Douglas, we're going to catch up with you. We're going to have you on again.
Thanks for sacrificing your fun in the woods. I think you just came here to get out of the rain, is what I think.
Absolutely.
Were you talking to me? Were you talking to me? I'm sorry. Oh,
no,
okay.
we had a monsoon going on at the camp last night, but thank God we have a cover where we can congregate under, and we got a little wood stove and stuff. So it was really cool. Actually, it was the best day of the whole bunch, because we were all just sitting around connecting and feeling energy, and they were messing with us and all that beautiful stuff. Okay, guys.
I can't wait till next time we get together.
Yeah, we'll do it in a week or two for sure. Okay, Doug.
Awesome.
Thank you.
All right. All right. Love
See you guys.
Love you
too.
Love
you too.
Be good.
And we're still recording.
Yeah, I'm trying to figure out how to stop it.
Push the button. See, you hit the one button, and you hit the other button. Yeah, that's good. That's good.
There we go. I did it. I stopped it. I did it.
Fantastic.
I actually did it.
You're making progress. It's like our 17th show. That's good. I'm proud of you.
Yeah, but you know, there's a lot of charm in the technical difficulties, and we're not having as many. So it's
Keep saying that to yourself, and then you'll feel good.
okay, guys. Everybody who was watching today, thanks a lot. We love you all and appreciate it. And thanks for keeping Thanks for keeping an open mind and an open heart.
They're calling us Debbie's calling us the Bean Boys now.
Yeah, you see? Well, how much did you pay her to say that?
Nothing. She's making nice. She's going to go camping in October with family, and I plan on bringing my drum, Keoma, made to gift me, and to me by Dowell Southwick. Donnell Southwick.
Donnell.
Donnell, yeah, Donnell Southwick, and it's my goal to play for the Sasquatch and receive a footprint. Yeah.
Right. Hey, I got to get back into the woods because on the video, I got to make sure before these people leave, we do a drum. The drumming was awesome. If this guy leaves, I want to make sure I get a little bit of drumming on our video. So anyway, Frank, I'd like to say it was a pleasure talking to you.
Goodbye, Mary Jean Sutton and Patrick Giggy and all those things. Cut me right off, son of a bitch.
Hey, we're going to have to get Mr. Giggy back on to sing a song.
Yeah, but why did you cut me off right in the middle of it? Anyway, you did good, man. Thanks for showing up. We had one dropout and then one surprise guest. That's good.
Yeah. And you're always a surprise, too. So it's all good. It's all good, my friends.
But I have a nice...
Thanks for watching.
I just had a nice, what do you call it? I just had a nice bologna sandwich, so I'm really good.
Yeah. Well, what happened to the peanut butter and bananas or whatever you normally eat?
Sometimes you need bologna, man. That's why the FOB, full of bologna.
Yep. Well, full of bologna, full of beans, full of something. Okay, Frank. I got to get back and get rained on.
Say hello to the RE clan.
Will do.
Yeah.
Shall do.
It's all good. Okay.
Okay. See you later, my friend.
Have fun.
Okay. We stopped. Okay. I'm going to go.